What is up, team? And welcome back to the Technical Fowl Podcast. As always, you're joined by the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson. To my right is JP Pusatlowski. And to my left is Sanders Oakley. How we doing today, boys?
Great. Better than I've been doing it about 4 or 5 weekends.
Sure.
Fantastic even. But yeah, ready to talk football. Definitely starting a little later than we wanted, so I will not elaborate.
All good.
My weekend went as many other people's weekends. Watching football. Thankfully, I used Dish, so did not get hurt by the YouTube TV situation. But yeah, it was a great weekend of football for sure.
How we doing over here, JP?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
We're doing great. Dogs won. And Tyler Shuck doesn't look good, so another loss, another game closer to a new franchise quarterback.
You probably made some bones on that game too.
Yes, Rams were able to cover, so another best bet covers.
Too easy.
Did we finish? Are we finished? Are we done with the week, or there's still something to play?
We're going to be 3-2.
Okay.
With 2 games left, being the nightcap, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. We have Seattle -3.5 or 2.5, I should say, and Dallas -2.5.
Gotcha. Who does Dallas play tomorrow?
Arizona.
I like that.
Crazy spread.
Yeah.
Actually diabolical.
I agree, but Vegas knows, so.
They do know. They prove it time and time again.
We're also getting flamed by Panthers fans.
Yeah.
Right now.
We'll circle back around when their season inevitably falls off because that's just not a good football team. I know they have 5 wins now.
Somehow.
But watch even better was their next video. Oh, man.
That's tough. Yeah, JP harping on the Saints.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they're doing their research. They're going back and they're doing deep dives.
Well,
so shout out them.
We'll have to fight back later.
Today. For now, let's get into the good stuff.
We got content to get to, and that is the revealing of our top 25s, all 3 of ours. Breakdown of the games we previewed on Thursday's show, as well as other takeaways, and then a trip to the Technical Fowl Stock Market, which is open for business every Sunday. So,
unlike any other stock market.
True. Yeah, we've cornered the Sunday stock market.
All right, cool.
Shall we get into our top 25s?
Yeah, I'm down.
Bet.
I mean, technically, the crypto market is open.
Sure.
Oh, is it? Okay, I was just referring to the actual stock market.
But
that was
yes.
my reference. I do not know of crypto markets. Maybe I should
You
learn.
don't need to know.
Stay
Don't
away.
get into it.
Who wants to start?
I can. I think me and JP go first. Get through ours. You can give your complaints. JP can give his 2 complaints with mine, and then we can get to yours.
Take it away, Jack.
Cool. I believe my top 5 is still the same. And then a bunch of teams slide up a little bit because I had Georgia Tech and Miami sitting at 6 and 7, and they both lost this weekend. So they end up dropping, and they're replaced by Oregon and Ole Miss. Notre Dame is right there. Then Texas Tech at 9, BYU at 10 to round out the top 10.
Sorry, I'm looking at a different ballot.
Yeah, sure. It took me a second to get that. Virginia's at 11, followed closely by Louisville, who they beat at 12. Georgia Tech falls to 13. It's their first loss of the season. It's not a good loss, but everyone's losing these days, so I'm not just gonna plummet their ranking for 1 loss. Texas at 14, they move up 6, right in front of Vandy at 15, who they beat by 3 at home. Oklahoma up to 16. Missouri's at 17. One of the harder teams I have to rank is Missouri. I don't really know how I feel about them, but they're sitting at 17. Iowa up to 18. Memphis to 19. Dominant performance by Iowa against a team I really like in Cincinnati, so they are now re-ranked for me at 20. Miami drops all the way down to 21. And because of my dislike for Mario Cristobal, I really wanted to drop them all the way out. But I did not.
Yeah.
James Madison at 22, and then a couple teams rejoining the rankings. And then I believe with USC at 23, I think this is Pittsburgh's first appearance for me at 24.
That seems right. I don't remember having
They've
seen
looked
them
like
before.
a new team since just changing quarterbacks to their freshman. I'm not even going to try and say his last name.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either.
It's like German or something like that.
Yes.
And then North Texas at 25 after a good win for them against Navy, and that's what I have. Any complaints, disagreements?
No. I mean, Missouri
Sure.
in there, but you were of the philosophy you want to see them lose before you drop them. I'm
Ole
not.
Miss isn't even too high, JP.
No.
I think he has them in the same
Ole
spot.
Miss
Wow.
is properly
So-
ranked at 7th in the country.
That's a first.
I think you are sliding one team.
Sure.
Kennesaw State should be ranked personally.
my first team out. They're my first team
Okay.
out. So
That's good.
if they win next week, someone's inevitably going to fall out, and they can find their way in.
I will say to talk on them, what a turnaround for them in year 2 now in FBS football. Last year they were really, really poor. They fired their coach, Coach Bonahan, who had literally had them in the FCS playoffs for 4 years running, and now they are 6-2. They're 4-0 in Conference USA. So they're right up there at the top of Conference USA, meaning they could fight for a playoff bid.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't, even at 10-2.
Sure.
Their 2 losses are a blowout loss to Indiana, which happens to everyone apparently, and a 1-point loss to Wake Forest, where they missed an extra point early in the game, and that's the only reason they lost. Otherwise, it would have gone to overtime. And I'll go ahead and say that the Owls would have beat Ashford in overtime, but other than that, no problems with your ballot. We can go ahead and get into my ballot.
Cool. Sure. Welcome in, Tucker.
My ballot is nearly identical, unironically. Just a few splitting of hairs in difference of just where teams are ranked. But in general, it's almost identical. Ohio State's the best team in the country. They deserve to be number 1. And even people like Josh Pate, who rank via resume, have continued to leave Ohio State at number 1 in the country. They are the best team in the country, both analytically, eye test wise, you name it. This the best team in the country. Indiana's number 2 right now for me. Nothing else changes until we get to 7, where I had 3 teams lose. I guess we all had 3 teams lose in Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Miami,
Yeah.
who were all in this range. So I'm going to give, as the BYU guy in the pod, BYU the highest ranking out of the 3 of us.
Sure.
At 8th in the country, as they will face off against Texas Tech on Saturday, who is number 9, in Lubbock, on College Game Day, on ABC. Yes, BYU Texas Tech has gotten the ABC game before Georgia, Mississippi State, and Starkville. What a world we live in. Go Cougars, but shout out CT. Notre Dame slides into the top 10. It's crazy to think that we've gotten at this point in the season, they slide in there. I continue to think it's an interesting argument. What if the Miami or the Texas A&M game had been last week? Would they be sitting here at 10, or would they be lower, down where an Oklahoma is or a Texas is? But here they are sitting at 10 for me. I don't remember where they are in the AP. I'm sure they're pretty high.
I can
up
check
there.
while you keep talking.
I think it's 12, if I'm not mistaken. Louisville and Virginia sit there at 11 and 12. I have Virginia ahead of Louisville because they beat Louisville. Texas ahead of Oklahoma because they beat Oklahoma. And then we have Tech, Vanderbilt. I have JMU sitting at 17.
Go Dukes.
Go Dukes. Agreed. They look poised to potentially get the Group of 5 bid. I don't think they're not the favorite given the American teams.
Sure.
With Memphis and USF and even North Texas. But I think they're the best of those 4 teams, so I have them ahead of those 3 teams in Memphis, USF, and Texas, or North Texas. Miami drops all the way down to 21. They still have a win over Notre Dame, which is one of the better wins in the country. USC slides back into 22. Utah, with an impressive blowout of Cincinnati, slides into 23. Iowa is in there at 24. And then the Kennesaw State Owls, where my dad is a professor at,
Go
slides
Owls.
in at 25. Yes, go Owls. Hootie Hoo is their catchphrase down there on the campus of Kennesaw State. Also a campus that Lionel Messi has practiced at.
That's
That's
crazy.
cool.
He has practiced on their soccer field before playing in a game in the Benz in Atlanta for Inter Miami. And that is my top 25.
Cool.
I have no real complaints.
Yeah, I
It's
like the
very
Kennesaw
similar to mine.
State story. It was really weird when they fired their head coach, and I think a lot of people were really upset because it was like
Rightfully so.
he was dominating the FCS. He gets to the FBS level and has he's halfway through a bad year.
Yeah.
And they fire him, and I remember thinking, and I feel like the general consensus was like, you put him in a very tough situation. He's got FCS resources, and you expect him to win at the FBS level, and when he doesn't, you fire him. And what a crazy turn of events that they might have been right in that they had the resources to compete at the FBS level, going 6-2 or starting 6-2. So, fun story to keep our eye on as the season goes on.
Yes.
They're competing at the FBS bridge level. That is the Conference
Yes,
USA,
that's
Correct.
fair.
which is still very impressive. But the Conference USA is pretty weak.
How many recent FCS teams did Conference USA have at this point?
They have Missouri State.
They've got
They have
Kent
Delaware,
State.
who just joined this year as well.
They have Kent State.
Kent State's in the MAC.
Yeah.
Mac. Okay.
KSU. And
I don't
know
how
off the
recent
top of my
other
head
ones
how
are,
recent the other ones are. Yeah.
Okay.
but definitely multiple of the newer ones.
It's the bridge.
Sam
though.
Houston, I believe,
Sam
is
Houston,
a recent
yes,
addition.
correct.
this year because they joined with.
No, that was Missouri State and Delaware.
So maybe they were last
Sam
year.
Houston
then?
Yeah,
was
they were
last
last
year.
year.
if I'm
last
not
year.
mistaken.
Yeah, so multiple, basically brand new FBS teams. Also, the Raiders just failed a 2-1 conversion to win, so they
Oh,
lose.
Schubert.
They
Wow.
lose 30-29 in overtime.
Hey, good win for the Jaguars.
I was so close to being right, but not to be.
My Raiders 2-15 prediction looking more and more possible.
I don't know.
Still really unlikely.
It is.
Brock being back made that team look very different offensively.
Why aren't you getting flack for that? And I'm getting flack for the Panthers, but
Well,
I
because
digress.
the Panthers are winning and the Raiders are not. So
There's still so much time for the
I
Raiders.
know there is.
I don't think Raiders fans exist.
are the Panthers
Which
winning?
is just cap. They
Let's.
do exist.
Do we want to get into my top
Yeah,
25?
yeah. Get onto your top 25. Why don't you?
I'll throw it up on the screen and then I got to pull it up. I know that
Shma.
my top several teams are unchanged, including Indiana sits there at 1 still. Texas A&M is still at 2, and Ohio State is still at 3. As a matter of fact, my top 5 are unchanged. And then, yeah, JP talked about we all had teams that lost with Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, and Miami. So a bunch of teams get to move up as a result of that. Texas Tech, Ole Miss, UVA are all pretty big jumpers. And then Oregon and BYU round out the top 10. Louisville at 11, Vanderbilt at 12. Miami drops down to 13, ahead of Notre Dame, who they beat earlier this season. Texas at 15, Oklahoma 16, Georgia Tech 17. Georgia Tech drops a lot to 9 after their loss to NC State on Saturday. And then USC at 18 jumps Michigan. Missouri at 20. Cincinnati drops down to 21. And then three AC teams, Memphis, USF, North Texas, and then James Madison round out the top 25. JP, fire away.
Yeah, so Virginia has the 8th best resume in the country, even better than
That's what's
our second school, BYU.
stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Because even just like they're one in front of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're both one-loss teams. UVA loses to an NC State team. Oregon has lost to Indiana.
Who is your number 1 team in the country?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then
3 weeks running.
neither of them really have crazy impressive wins.
Right.
So
I like UVA's. I do like some of UVA's wins more than I like Oregon's wins. Like I like the Louisville win. I like the Cal win that they just got.
Sure.
I really do like the Cal team a lot, and maybe that's a fault of mine, but I think that that's a good win for them at Cal. And then also, I don't think the Oregon team has looked like they've looked questionable.
Neither
they
has the
still have a
UVA
lot
team.
of they still have a lot of opportunities to prove themselves the rest of the season and could easily finish inside the top 5 depending on how the season plays out and who wins and who loses. But yeah, right now I've got UVA ahead of Oregon. And BYU, because BYU is undefeated. But I think that I still like UVA's 2 wins. I think that BYU's big wins are on a comparable level to UVA's.
I mean, Virginia lost to a 5-4 team, but I digress. Vanderbilt has a better resume than Texas.
So it's close because of the head-to-head, but Vanderbilt does have the win over Missouri, the win over LSU. Texas, they did beat Vanderbilt, but that was kind of like their first.
And
big,
Oklahoma, you have ranked.
True. So, yes, that is close. But Vanderbilt, that was a close loss at Texas. And so I'm going, yes, they did win. But, yeah, I still have Vanderbilt as a top 12 team with the 12th best resume.
Huh. Why is Georgia Tech so low? If Virginia gets to lose to NC State, and that be their only loss, and then Georgia Tech gets to lose to NC State, and that be their only loss, why does Georgia Tech sit at 17 and not 9th or 8th or 7th?
Because they have not played the same ACC competition that UVA has. So they've got that win over Clemson, but Clemson is now potentially not going to make a bowl game.
Okay, but that was still Clemson at the time.
It was Clemson at the time, but
we can make the same argument for Virginia against Florida State.
Yeah. But I just don't like. I think they've played an easier ACC schedule.
If you want to use that argument too, you can go to Vanderbilt and talk about Missouri and LSU and South Carolina. Their 3 best wins. So I don't know if I like that one.
Yeah. I don't. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me either, because even like, I get their wins aren't very good, but like UVA's aren't either. Like Georgia Tech has beat Duke, and I think Duke's a better ACC win than any ACC win Virginia has, for example.
Yeah.
Because that Duke team likes to shoot themselves in their foot, but they have a quality squad. They know how to score. They're coached by Manny Diaz, a good defensive guy. They can scheme some stuff up. So that discrepancy seems a little large to me as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, biggest thing that sticks out for me is Cincinnati still being ranked at 2 losses.
Yeah.
Without really a big win, and you get trounced by Utah, and then Nebraska. That win keeps getting worse. They pick up another loss, that loss.
Yeah.
Keeps getting worse as Nebraska has lost yet another game.
Yeah.
So
I think that once you get past 20, like none of these teams have like a top 15 win. Like these are all teams that like it's hard to make it like. None of them have great wins, right? And they all have losses. And so it's just kind of measuring that. And I gave Cincinnati, I kept them in the top 25 because they've got wins against Iowa State, which Iowa State at the time was a good team, right? They were, 4-0 or something? So, they started 4-0. So they were 4-0 at the time, if we're going to do that.
But it's like sometimes I feel like you do that and sometimes you don't.
Well, they also have wins at Kansas, and they have a win against Baylor, who are 3 teams those are 3 teams that I think are good. And also this is the case to keep a team at 21 ahead of 4 G5 teams, like who have wins against each other. USS got the Florida win, which is great.
Memphis beat Arkansas, SEC win.
True, but it's kind of like that's the last P4 team before you get to a group of G5 teams that I think none of them have like a outstanding win that's better than Cincinnati's wins.
Yeah. I just feel like, for example, even like a team like Iowa could be there. Teams with better resumes, but it's really not. I mean, it does get a little murky in the 20s. So,
and I will say SMU has a top 15 win. NC State has a top 15 win. And Arizona State also has a top 15 win.
NC State has 2 top 15 wins.
Even better.
Yeah, they've got
now they have
UVA
4 losses.
and Georgia Tech. Yeah, yeah.
They do have a couple of top 15 wins. That's all I got, though. We can move on.
Cool.
To weekly takeaways outside of what we talked about.
I prepared graphics
Thursday.
for about 12 games, so if y'all just want to start talking, and if I've got it, I'll throw it up there, and if not, we'll leave it blank.
Yeah, we can start with the coaching news, that Hugh Freeze has been fired, which, as JP mentioned, was broken by some Auburn Twitter account because his 1:30 tee time today got canceled.
Correct.
So that got broke about 4 hours before it officially broke that he got fired and let go, which you kind of knew it was coming. I was surprised they held on to him for this long, but then losing at home to Kentucky, and you put up 3 points, which, as my friend so nicely pointed out last night, both the Dodgers and Blue Jays outscored the Auburn yesterday. But just it's an inexcusable loss, and he's had multiple losses that they would have deemed inexcusable even like 4 years ago, which shows you how much the standard there has fallen. Shouldn't have got rid of Gus Malzahn, but he's out the door, and now You said their president's already trying to say that they have the best job in college football, crap like that.
Was it the president, really?
Didn't you tell me that, or was
No,
it?
no, it was just someone on Twitter.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, that's crazy extrapolation. For
I'm
me.
about to say, I don't think I said it was the president, but there was someone on Twitter who
that's
was
a
like,
scam.
yeah.
They're-
I wish it's been going viral and everyone's calling him out on it, but it's just like the kind of blind, like,
They're now the third best job open in the SEC. So they had to fire him. It's been so bad.
100%.
But they're not going to be in a good spot, in a good position in this coaching carousel, in my opinion. So if y'all had to throw out a name, who would y'all pick to be their head coach right now?
I would pick what's his name from Tulane,
Summerall.
John Summerall.
That's who I would say as well.
That would be my candidate.
Does he have Auburn ties? Am I making that up?
I think you're making that up.
Okay, cool.
I
Then
think.
Doesn't
take
he
it
have
back.
Kentucky ties? Isn't that the SEC school he has ties to?
Maybe that's
He did coach at Troy.
Yeah.
And Troy's not too far from Auburn. So he's got roots in Alabama, at least coaching wise.
Sure.
he
which
does
can
have
help him
Kentucky
there.
ties.
But that would be my guy. I'd go for something like that. Auburn, it's not the best job in the country, according to that guy on Twitter. But also, it's not for me. It's never been. I don't think it's ever felt like it should be a job where you hire one of the best coaches in football, or you hire a big personality. Like Hugh Freeze was a big personality. It feels like somewhat a job that you hire an underdog,
Sure.
someone who has to work their way up. And the biggest thing is just you need someone who can beat Alabama.
Yeah, someone like Jimbo Fisher or something.
Jimbo
No,
has
that's a big personality.
Jimbo has beaten Alabama.
I have
so
seen people like, was Jimbo an assistant there?
Apparently
saw a photo
because
of him in
there's
Auburn
a photo
gear.
of him in Auburn stuff.
And so I've seen people saying, bring back Jimbo.
I would like James Franklin. I think would be a solid hire. That the optics of that are terrible. Talking about you need someone that can beat Alabama,
And then
he
you bring
maybe
in
would
the
never
guy.
do that.
Yeah.
But they, at this point, they really just need someone to re-raise the floor of this program back to like 7 or 8 wins, because that's not been the floor. That's been the ceiling of the program the past 4 years.
I don't think they've gotten there.
7, I think.
Did they get to
Before they were
no,
6 and
no,
7.
They were
They
six,
haven't been to a bowl game.
And the number past
Nice
6.
6 wins and 7 losses.
Yeah.
And then they were 5 and 7 last year, and now they're 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And they are on pace for a 5 and 7 year. Although Mercer is a really good FCS team, and I would watch out for that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course, like the Iron Bowl, anything can happen, I guess.
Yeah.
But, especially down on the plains. No, the Hugh Freeze firing had to happen. Of course, like you said, you can't do that with the resources that they have, which they have plentiful resources. They have one of the best environments in college football. Auburn is an excellent, like superb college town. It's a really good mix between being deserted out in the middle of nowhere, nothing anywhere like Starkville, and in smack dab in the middle of a city, given Austin or Georgia Tech in Atlanta. It's a beautiful recruiting background, or not like literal background. Just like the area, you can get a lot of great recruits in high school. But for me, I would hire someone who is an underdog, someone who's going to build that culture up, because that's the biggest thing. They've gone through what?
Do you think they're ready for that, though? Because that's kind of been their issue since they hired Malzahn. If you think that's their identity, which I don't think you're wrong, but the fan base clearly the past 4 years has disagreed, and the donors and the people making the hires have disagreed, and they've not gone after that.
That's the way I would go.
Sure.
I agree with you. I don't feel like they feel that way. As Tucker mentioned in the chat, someone even said that their job is better than or is too good for James Franklin or John Summerall. That I disagree with. You got to build the program up because of what has occurred over the past 4 or 5 years since the COVID season with Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze. This is a really bad program. They haven't done themselves any favors either. With the guys that they've brought in, like quarterback play, I think is a big one that I look at. Now it doesn't mean everything. Look at Arkansas; they have Taylor Green, and they're 2 and 7. But the Peyton Thorne and Jackson Arnold have been just straight up misses.
Robbie Ashford
Robbie
played for a bit.
They've
Zach
been
Calzada got brought in.
Zach Calzada. That's unfortunate, really, because A&M quarterbacks have seemed to hit post leaving A&M, but that was an unfortunate miss for Auburn.
That was a tough day for them yesterday.
Yes, agreed. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But no, the quarterback play, they haven't done themselves any favors. They can like complain and cry all they want that they were like games were taken away from them by the refs this year, the Oklahoma game, the Georgia game. But you can't win football games when that's the offensive output that you have.
Yeah.
And they have had that over the past few years, and they've with an elite defense, especially this year. It's a shame because they really could have been a lot better. But you brought in Jackson Arnold, and that didn't go well.
Sounds kind of like Jackson Arnold's last team.
Yeah.
Where they had an elite defense and they just couldn't get offensive output, which really makes you wonder, why did they think that bringing that quarterback in was the answer?
Because he had a 5-star next to his name many years ago.
And there were, in their defense, it obviously didn't work out, but there were a lot of other issues with Oklahoma.
5 receivers, 6 receivers that were hurt.
And Arnold was still young, so there was hope for growth, but there really wasn't a backup plan, and that's the scariest thing is they put all their chips into that one basket. That was an unproven basket. So
I saw someone today tweet, I think it was like College Football Geniuses or the
nerds.
College Football Nerds.
Yeah.
They were like, how did you scout this team last year, watch Jackson Arnold tape, and then put everything on him, like put everything on Red as like he's going to be the answer we're going to hit? I don't know. It was an unfortunate miss, but we are thankful as State fans after we thought for about, 36 hours we were going to get him or something?
Yeah.
We would have got Camario a lot earlier than this year. Nah, because, Shapen. It would just, unless that forced Shapen.
We would have gotten Shapen over.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it would have probably forced Shapen out.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
But
how hard he fought to get back in that game yesterday, I think he would have transferred out if we brought in Arnold.
He wants.
An irrelevant discussion.
An old guy that wants to play, and that makes sense.
Anything else on this game?
Shout out Kentucky. This is what their program I think is going to be at this point, most likely.
The freshman's been playing pretty solid.
Cutter Boley has been playing pretty good ball. But your brother, talking about firing Stoops or what's going to happen with Stoops, or are they going to keep Stoops? At least for the immediate future, they're going to keep Stoops because of the buyout, and they just don't care enough about football.
Yeah, they're basketball school.
They're going to be a program that is feisty enough and plays good enough defense that they'll pick off an SEC team or two a year, and that'll be like their big moment of the season.
And they'll schedule lighter out-of-conference play, and so you go undefeated and you're out of conference, and you get to go to a bowl game. And
so enjoy the win, Kentucky fans. Even though it's ugly, they're used to ugly football. They kind of relish in it. And
so
I don't expect the wins to be very many for them in the upcoming years. So enjoy.
Yeah. I was trying to find the stat because I saw someone say something like Kentucky did this similar thing last year where they faced a backup quarterback on the road or something.
I don't know.
Okay, I was hoping maybe one of y'all had seen it as well.
Who'd they play last year?
Old Piss started Jackson Dart, so I don't know how much.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
That's
then.
the only road game I remember for Kentucky
last year. They beat. Yeah, their only road win was Ole Miss, or their only SEC win was Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the stat was that I saw.
That's so funny.
But yeah, big win for them. I'll be interested to. A big thing to watch will be Auburn's roster and Auburn's recruiting. That is one thing that Hugh. It's the reason he still has a job is because it was I've got recruits coming in. Just give me more time. I just need more time to develop these guys. These 5 stars and these 4 stars. And he didn't develop them, but they're still sitting there on the roster.
He developed some, to be fair.
Yeah. So the question will be, can they bring in a guy who can keep that group of talent together, or is he going to get picked clean by the Georgias? I saw someone be like,
the Mississippi State.
Kurt Signetti is going to come pick your roster bare.
I've seen a lot of those.
Real quick, Cam Coleman, come on home, man. As someone that was at one time committed to A&M.
So he doesn't want to go there. Be the wide receiver 2 behind Mario Craver?
It'll be 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Respect.
Just him and KC are the same thing.
I think a lot of them will stay because you talked about what everyone loves about Auburn. Even someone asked a 5-star commit at wide receiver what he thought of the firing. He was like, oh, I liked Freeze, but like whatever it takes to make the program better, I understand. And that shows, well, one, I got a lot of money to go there, and two, I like a lot about the program and the place, and not just that Hugh Freeze was there. Similar with LSU. Like, you've not seen any decommits from LSU. At least I could have missed one or two, but there's really been almost none. In fact, someone committed to them the day after they fired Brian Kelly because so much of it is you're committing to LSU and you're not committing to the coach because the place is so cool.
Yeah, of the places I've gotten to go to while in college, I have loved Auburn so much. That area is so nice. Their facilities are great. The Jordan Hare is awesome.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has nostalgia with it, but it's also just a tremendous environment. And that area is really nice. It's in a great location too. It's 2 hours from Atlanta. 2 or 3 hours from Tuscaloosa. 3 to 4 hours from the beach.
Yeah.
It's such a great area. And so I completely understand that. I really wanted to go to Auburn for college.
Yeah.
But they gave me no money.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
I didn't even get a visit.
That's a classic theme.
But I know a ton of friends that went there, and they loved their time at Auburn so much. It's also just a great school, too. If you're not looking to make the NFL, I guess if you're a football player there, it's a great degree to have.
Oh, yeah.
To get into the job force after, which I don't think a lot of the commits are thinking about, but maybe their parents are.
But if you think like
maybe some older transfers,
college
or
football
something.
26, and you think about all the, you've got the different things and how they're like B+ and stuff. Like Auburn's a bunch of like B+ and above.
Yes, agreed.
100%.
Other than coaching prestige.
Coaching prestige has been a D+ at best recently, for sure.
But
we can move on.
Let's do it.
I just want to shout out there were a lot of like just shocking stat lines yesterday, especially from QBs. Noah Fifita completes 11 passes for 213 yards and 4 touchdowns against Colorado, and absolutely smokes. I mean, that's just ridiculous. 11 passes,
almost 20 yards a pass.
Correct. And
completion.
you're over 11 yards.
Wait, he
per
completed
attempt.
or he threw? He completed or he attempted?
He was like 11 for 19.
Okay.
For 213
Scored 38
yards.
in the first half.
Just blew out Colorado. Colorado's not in a great spot. And I think Colorado turned the ball over 5 times, just trounced them. Similarly, Tommy Castellanos had 12 completions for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns. Wake Forest got taken to the woodshed yesterday. A lot of pin-out frustration, I would say, from Florida State after a run of losses. That's their first ACC win in like 10 attempts or something like that.
That's 22.5 yards per completion.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Is that their
stuff.
first one since Cal last year?
I believe so, yes.
Which I can't believe they still won that game last year.
Yeah.
Yes, it is their first. They have 2 ACC wins the past 2 years, and their first since Cal last year.
Yeah.
Diabolical.
My boy Owen McCown, UTSA quarterback.
Yep.
31 for 33 for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So very different
Slightly
kind of
efficient.
Yeah, just a little efficient. They kind of ride the ship, beat Tulane on Friday night. Unexpectedly, beat them by like 20 points or something like that.
Yeah, 22.
22 points. Our boy Darian Starling was shocked and very happy in his post-game review and the live stream.
Yep, we tuned in and left a
Massive win for them, and there was like some weird pre-week back and forth between the coaches about Tulane's coach accusing them of piping in crowd noise and stuff like that, and then Traylor firing back after the game.
That's disrespectful to the Alamo Dome.
Yeah,
that
it really
place
is.
a really good environment.
Georgia Tech legend Jeff Sims has 228 rushing yards and 2 TDs on the ground.
Yeah, somehow.
As they pull out a win against Iowa State, an ugly, ugly game. Neither team wanted to score down the stretch. Let me go find it real quick. I should have already had it pulled up, but the fourth quarter drive chart in that game.
I've got it right here.
You should read it often. It's pretty funny.
Fourth quarter, punt, turnover on downs, interception, fumble, punt, turnover on downs. The game is over.
And most of those drives too are like 3 plays punt, 5 plays punt, 5 plays turnover on down, 2 plays interception. Like none of them are long drives that don't go anywhere. There's just the ball is not getting moved at all. Was glorious to watch on the third TV as it just every time you look over, the other team immediately has the ball back and immediately is giving it right back.
Yeah, I think that's about 130 yards of offense in the fourth quarter.
Brilliant.
And then, I mean, shout out, like you said, shout out Jeff Sims for doing that and doing it without Jordan Tyson, I believe. I don't think he played.
Tyson didn't play.
I saw someone say he did it without his best wide receiver.
I
So
mean, it did basically all on the ground, and Levitt's on the out for the season,
he's
as we've
out,
already
done.
discussed. And you can tell it's been a tough season for them because you mentioned it. But Dillingham literally is giving them the entire bye week off just because he's like, it's been such a taxing and hard season emotionally and physically that they need it.
yeah,
Like, almost basically like, we won't get through the rest of the season if they don't get a break.
Yeah.
So clearly the bye week comes at a great time, and it's a cool win. They're just such a resilient program. It's what I love about them. They're at their best when they're an underdog. So, their QB goes down, their star wide receiver's not playing. Sure, it's Iowa State who's been struggling too, but to go get that win's really impressive. And Jeff Sims is probably like 24, 25 now, getting his run and taking advantage of it. So shout out to him.
yeah. Go and beat Iowa State to make them lose their 5th straight. So
Yeah. 2 more stat lines here. Caleb Hawkins for the Mean Green, 33 carries and 4 touchdowns for 197 yards. Absolute bell cow against Navy. Kind of, I guess, turns around and gives Navy a dose of their own medicine in terms of physicality. You're just going to run all over them. They win that game pretty easily, 31-17. But he's a very talented freshman. I'm interested to see if he's like the next Fluff or of that nature. You know,
somebody takes the jump.
the group of 5 running back that takes the jump. Hopefully he's not a Mekhi Hughes in that facet. But he's very, very impressive. And then Haynes King did lose. But
Well,
20
hold on, sorry.
Go ahead.
About the UN, did Navy run? Did you see something about Navy running for 100 yards? And it's like they've done it for like 40-something straight games, which is like 20 more than the next closest team.
I don't know that stat off the top of my
Let me see
head.
if I can find that. I believe it's something along those lines.
But when you run it 44 times, I'd hope you get to 100 yards.
Yeah. I mean, they had
Yeah.
300. They had 311 rushing yards in this game. I said that North Texas gave them a taste of their own medicine, but they really only had 190 rushing yards. It was just basically all Caleb Hawkins, which makes sense because he carried the ball 33 times.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many other touches running backs got. Kiefer Sibley had 6 carries. Mestamaker had 2. Wyatt Young had 1. So it was really all Caleb Hawkins.
Yep. I like too much stuff to try on Twitter to go back and try and find it, which is
That is tough.
unfortunate. But yeah.
Last one, Haynes King, 25 of 35 for 408 yards and 2 TDs, and then add 103 rushing yards and 2 TDs on the ground. So you're north of 500 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns. And the defense just cannot get a stop to save their lives. And so NC State beats you. Brutal, heartbreaking. But, I mean, that's like the definition of Haynes King is leave it all out there and balls to the wall for 60 minutes, regardless of what happens at the end.
Yeah, they're super one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Having to rely so much on Haynes King. I really wanted to like at least just bring this game up on Thursday, but I never did. Which you can think I'm lying about that if you want. It was also part of Josh Pate's upset alert.
It got a good bit of noise just in general.
It was not an easy one. Night game at NC State.
Yeah.
NC State had already beaten Virginia, who's a top 15 team, number 8 according to some, and just couldn't get a stop defensively. But some of like the Georgia Tech students are already giving up, since I have a little inside connection there, which is crazy considering you go to Georgia Tech and you're not smart enough to realize the season's not over. It's not over at all. With Miami losing, Georgia Tech is still, I'm pretty sure they control their own destiny to make the ACC championship still.
They got to at least be close.
And they only have 2 ACC games left.
Because, I mean, your other big contenders for that final spot is like a Duke, who you've beat Duke. There's a bunch of 5-1 teams, and then it's Virginia's the only undefeated team, which is funny because
Pittsburgh is 5-1.
every ACC team has lost
They will
to
play
another.
Pitt.
Yeah, so they probably do control their own destiny. Do they play Louisville? I don't think so.
They don't play Louisville.
So they would.
So I don't know how the tiebreaker worked there.
Sure.
SMU is also sitting there at 4-1, but they have the win over Duke at least.
Yeah, and they play Pitt. So if they beat Pitt, they'll be like Pittsburgh will be out of the running. So then it'll come down to those tiebreakers with Louisville and SMU.
No, this is shaping up to be
I'll look at that.
an electric conference race. And we've talked about it before, but I just love that technically, not even technically, every ACC team has lost to another ACC team.
Yeah.
Virginia just doesn't count as a conference game, so they're 5-0 and
Yeah.
chilling.
I saw someone else say it'll be really interesting to see if that counts as a mutual opponent when they start doing tiebreakers.
Interesting.
because it wasn't a conference game, but it is a mutual opponent. I don't know how they're going to handle that. I am glad that I am not in charge of those decisions. I bet the people up at the top are hoping it just sorts itself out.
Yeah,
so you don't start having to get to like 6 or 8 layers of tiebreakers. But yeah, and also shout out to the NC State quarterback. I was trying to pull up his stats.
CJ Bailey,
yeah,
baby.
CJ Bailey, someone you talked about like probably a month and a half ago. Because NC State was like 3-1 to start the season, I believe, or it started well, started strong. And he's a freshman, right?
Yes.
But I saw some of his highlights. People posting like he might be the first overall pick in 2027. And then I'm not even the more realistic people / the haters were like, I bet we could put an outfielder out there with a strong arm and clip a couple highlights, and people would think he's going to be like, if you buy the talent, he's going to be elite.
So disrespectful to CJ Bailey, who's done great things. And sure, there's not tons of tape, and it's hard to tell right now. It's just the athleticism and ability carrying him and what the mental ability is. But he's balling. So
well, athleticism can get you 4th overall. So
yeah, you just may not be a successful NFL QB, but
they don't control their own destiny.
Okay,
unfortunate.
Louisville would win a tiebreaker if they were the 2 teams tied at 7-1.
And who else does Louisville play?
Louisville has to play SMU.
Okay,
and Clemson. Next week as
and
well.
Kentucky.
Gotcha.
But Kentucky won't count towards the conference race, sadly.
And Cal.
But if they were to beat Georgia, they would be in at 11-1.
Yeah. Other big news, Raiola goes down and fractured his fibula, I believe, so he's out for the season. Happened late-ish in the game yesterday. I should know the exact time it happened, but I don't remember. And so USC wins at Nebraska 21-17. Pretty heartbreaking the way it happens. Nebraska's trying to drive to win, and on 4th and 1 on the handoff, the running back clips the QB's knee and just stumbles and falls behind
Emmett
the line.
Johnson.
Yep, Emmett Johnson.
It was really unfortunate because is it Thiele? Is that I have him in my notes as well. Is that his name? Well, I say I have it in my notes. But yeah, the backup comes in, and it's just one of those things that you don't have the practice, the reps with the first string running back to be more comfortable with how he's going to move and that handoff and executing that, which is really tough for Nebraska. But for USC, they still have a lot left in front of them. I don't think the Big Ten championship is likely / doable just because Indiana, Ohio State, I feel like are both going to finish undefeated. And kind of walk into that championship game, both 8-0 in Big Ten play, or 9, whatever, how many games they play. But USC does still have a very good chance at a at-large spot. They've got big games left in their schedule at Oregon, and then UCLA and Iowa. So those are 3 games that you could very easily lose. Iowa, some people are ranking top 25. They cannot throw the ball. I don't know how many passing touchdowns they're up to, but we've been keeping track of that because we picked the quarterback to throw under 10.
Do you guys want to guess?
I believe he's at 4.
Is he at 4 passing touchdowns?
Yes, 4.
All right. So the buying him to go under 10 is looking really good. And then UCLA is just a weird team that could go off after finding their head coach. They've played differently in games, but USC has their playoff. I would say if they go undefeated, like they control their own destiny. Talking about Georgia Tech and controlling their own destiny, I would say a 10-2 USC team with wins over Michigan, and then also Oregon and Iowa. I would say that's a playoff team. So
yeah, more likely than not.
The real question kind of comes down to
they'll be in a debate. I wouldn't guarantee it.
No, okay, that's fair. But the real question. Oh, imagine a 10-2 USC, 10-2 Oregon. If one makes it, that'd be interesting.
Like Notre Dame being at 10-2 and them having a loss to that hurts them there.
Yeah.
But the Oregon debate, then I think we're gonna have probably 2 SEC teams that are sitting there at 10-2, the 2 that don't make the SEC championship.
Yeah.
So and then still you could have multiple bids from the ACC. So nothing is guaranteed, and honestly, if you tried to just go down the path and look, it would get really jumbled up really quickly. I tried to do that earlier because I wanted to send a buy and sell for SEC teams, and then I was realized that there were way too many
Too many variables.
Yeah, too many possible outcomes to even really think.
You don't
about
have the Doctor Strange time stone benefit.
Sadly,
in terms of that.
As a gambler, I would love to have that. Although that would hopefully be outlawed. Hopefully, Doctor Strange can't gamble in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Probably not. He takes his abilities and privileges in the magic world
Seems
pretty seriously.
unethical too for him.
I completely agree.
Another thing about that USC, it's another win where Lincoln Riley, it's not his big win, right? He still doesn't really have that feather in his cap. Winning like the big game, losing to USC. I think, do they lose to, was it?
They lost to Notre Dame and Illinois both on the road.
Not USC. He's at UC. Losing to Notre Dame and then losing to Illinois on the road still doesn't have like the big win.
Sure.
And that's kind of the thing is he was coming into this season kind of you've got to win this year or you're out. And he really wanted to win because I think right now they've got the number 1 or the number 2 recruiting class for 2020. Number 1 for 2026. And I remember in our preview, I think when I made the title for our preview video, I was like, can Lincoln Riley survive till reinforcements arrive? Right now, it's setting up really well. But like I said, they've got 3 tough games left on the schedule with Oregon, Iowa, at Oregon. So that's kind of like his chance, right?
Sure.
To prove that
Oregon game, I think, tells the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can go win at Oregon, even if you drop a game to Iowa, I think that if you've got that,
I don't think you're allowed to drop that one.
if you go 9-3, you're going to be the coach next year. If you beat Oregon and go 9-3, that's my point.
I think you would have to lose all 3 to not be the coach next year, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm saying that like the Oregon game could be like like he could elevate the program next year.
Absolutely.
Because the biggest thing in college football right now, and I saw someone say it really well earlier today, is boosters really control the sport now. If your boosters are out, they can go to the athletics at the AD and be like, hey, we're closing off the purse,
we
we're
don't
tightening
want
the
Mark
purse string.
Stoops.
And they can't do
Thank
anything
Frederick,
because
man.
they need money. Like they can't function. They can't recruit. They can't make improvements to the stadium without the money that the donors give. And so
Sadly,
it is sad. But so if the donors are out on Lincoln Riley, it doesn't matter if he goes 9-3. Because if he loses to Oregon and the donors, decide as a group that, hey, he can't win the big games, he hasn't got us our big win yet. It's kind of been questionable since Caleb Williams graduates and goes to the NFL.
It was questionable with Caleb Williams, man,
Right.
especially that last year.
Yeah, I mean they had that one year where they went 11-2, I think, with Caleb and missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's my point is that like I would certainly not fire him if they lose that if he loses that Oregon game, but there might be a decision amongst the donors and the high rollers that this guy isn't best for the future of our program because we think we can be better.
Yeah, I will say the number 1 recruiting class helps him have a leash with the donors, I'm sure.
For sure.
Because they're probably very on board and very integral and responsible for that number 1 recruiting class.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be a pretty big, I think, flip for them to go from being bought in enough to help them get the number 1 recruiting class to LOL JK.
Yeah.
That's true, actually, though. He would have really fit the brand.
Mark Stoops would have been the perfect 8-4 coach.
8-4 still on the table.
It is still on the table.
Still on the table. Hopefully we squash that at Missouri on Saturday.
I've got a bunch of other graphics. Anything else you want to talk about?
I got 2 more things. We mentioned it already, and I know JP has a picture to show with it. But Houston goes down in disappointing fashion. You lose to one of the worst teams in the Big 12 because you can't get a stop. You give up 40-plus points to West Virginia, and you turn the ball over 3 times, which you can't turn the ball over 3 times if you're Connor Weigman. But a lot of it was, man, we can't get a stop, and we're playing from behind. I have to go out there and I'm slinging the ball. And most QBs in college, if you have to make them play from behind like that, they're going to run into a couple picks. And then the backbreaker of, we're about to get the ball back down 10, and you muff the punt. And that was the story. So brutal loss. The cage was not rocking.
No, not at all. Just imagine you're at a football game, and you think the time it's most packed, because no one's trying to beat the traffic, is the national anthem. This is the Houston crowd during the national anthem. This is not at the end of the game. This is the national anthem for a blackout at Houston in the cage. Tedesco Stadium had nobody in it. And you can't even I don't even know if it's a city. Like, it's Houston. You can't even say, like, Starkville where, like...
No one wanted to make
no
the
one wanted
commute
to-
4 hours.
Yeah, it's a good point, but the problem is everyone in Houston is, oh, we're driving up to College Station for the game. Oh, we're making the way to Austin for the game because we're Texas Longhorns that graduated from Texas and now live in Houston.
Fair.
This is still pathetic because the town is so huge, but it's just simply like that's not this town's team.
Yeah.
It's not Houston's team.
It's just diabolical.
I hear Jerry Jones on my ear going right now, this here's a pro town or whatever he says in the Dr. Pepper commercial. Yes. It is diabolical, though. You're right.
But yeah, Houston sadly could not handle the bright lights.
They needed Hubbard Snock on the sidelines.
They need Hubbard Snock. They missed on the best bets, which, like, again, to reiterate how just stupid this is, West Virginia this year is now 1-4 on the road. They beat Houston. Their prior 4 road losses were to Ohio by 7 points. Parker Navarro, shout out him.
Yeah, about to say, don't sleep on Parker Navarro.
Kansas by 31 points. BYU by 14. And the preseason worst odds-on favorite to win the Big 12, UCF and Scott Frost, who has like 90 or 100 new players on his roster. They lost by 32 points on the road at UCF and then come into a ranked Houston against Connor Weigman in the cage, which the cage was not rocking, and lose or win by 10 as double-digit underdogs. Diabolical. Makes no sense. But that is the sport of college football. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
agreed.
McBride makes the point. How big is Houston's?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's frustrating because even like when you say it, like we're going up to College Station. There was no A&M game. There was a Texas game in Austin.
50,000 students.
Yeah, 50,000 students.
Crazy.
And insane.
And I bet that stadium doesn't hold more than like
50,000.
I was going to say like 30, 35.
Something like that. It looks like about the size of Vanderbilt Stadium, which is 35,000. Tedesco Stadium capacity.
Yeah, I'll throw the capacity on there at the end.
Shout out to Deku Stadium.
Oh, 40,000.
Yeah.
With expandability.
Expandability?
Whatever that.
That's got to be if they like have a
body.
concert or something. So yeah, it's like 40,000. So you got to get the Houston sold on that. You got to get the whole student body out there.
It's crazy too because like Fritz is trying to build there. He has the top QB in the country coming in next year.
Yeah.
And JP, like you already mentioned it, but you're 7-1, and it's really frustrating to have no buy-in, and I think it's going to be hard for them without buying from the students. Like your momentum is only it gets capped at a certain point. So that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, they claim an attendance of 25,000 people, which pop up the crowd one.
Yeah, I'll throw the photo up there again.
You tell me if this is 25,000 people. I'm gonna go with like 15,000, give or take.
That's generous. I feel like 15,000.
Maybe 10,000. Maybe
the student section is left end zone.
Maybe
and
there
the
is a
student
student. Maybe there's
full.
a student section in the left end zone that's full. Maybe we're being disrespectful to Deku students.
I guarantee I can go find another photo. It won't.
I mean,
get
if
much
you,
better.
maybe so. Maybe that's what we're missing.
It's still like I saw that photo on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and I was like, oh, that's like at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
And then I look closely, I'm like, oh, why is everyone's lined up with their hand over their chest? This is the national anthem.
Maybe
What
they
are we
were doing like
here?
their
It's ranked.
Maybe they
Houston.
do a post game like the alma
That's
mater.
how they do the alma mater.
Maybe that's the alma mater.
No, I pretty sure it's not.
Sure.
Because
gonna
the
be funny.
referees were also standing there at midfield looking
Okay, yeah, that's tough.
towards the end zone, which
Yeah.
is where I assume the flag was.
Maybe they all went to Houston. All the refs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
even
the
though
refs.
They're
yeah,
instructed
it's
to
definitely,
leave as soon as the game
It is
over.
absolutely the national anthem. I was just like trying to like maybe make an argument that it wasn't, but looking at it closer, all of like the other team is still out there. It's 100% the national anthem, and there are, I mean, that stadium that's probably what 8% full.
I give it 15 to 20%.
Yeah, it all depends on the student section, but
If that even is the student section. Because
Yeah.
I don't know where it is in the stadium.
Well, that's us trying to be as generous as possible. Anything else? I've
The-
still got these games up here.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing.
We don't have to talk about Duke Clemson if you don't want to.
Okay.
But the Miami loses is pretty big for the playoff picture.
That what I would rather talk about.
And Carson Beck yet again has a brutal interception at a very untimely moment. Not that there's ever a great time to throw a pick, but throwing one on the first possession of overtime is about the worst possible time.
Yeah.
And once again, did not really take responsibility for it in the post-game press conference.
Oh,
Their O-line struggled today.
I didn't watch it. Was it?
He just was basically like, we do the same thing every time, and it's like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to, basically.
Yeah, he
So
I
the
said
opposite
something
of taking.
Yes.
Yes, he said something to the point of I just run the plays that they call,
Yes.
which I don't
Man, that's
I don't
weird.
think the play call was to throw an interception,
I would hope not.
Um,
If not, we got to investigate them for gambling.
but
Insider,
or like Mario Cristobal again is just another nail in the coffin of how awful he is if he's calling interception play calls. One thing about this game, like that has nothing to necessarily do with it. Watching it, ESPN was doing a cool thing. They would cut Mark Jones out, which Mark Jones is a fabulous announcer. He's one of the best. He's got all the catchphrases, especially like in basketball, but he's great in the college football as well. They cut them out, like they didn't have the commentators commentate for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
the sights
and they
and
just-
sounds.
It's called Sights and Sounds,
Yeah,
and they just
that was really
played
sick.
the audio from the game, and it sounds exactly like what a game would sound like, which I don't have a lot of experience in because most of the games I've been to, there's been cowbells ringing the
Yeah.
entire time, so it's a little bit different of a sound, but it sounds exactly like that. That was really cool to see, and it was a cool experiment from ESPN there.
I wish that was an option all the time because I was watching like a Wednesday night game a couple weeks ago or whatever it was, maybe a Friday night game near the beginning of the season, and it wasn't intentional. Their mics went out, and so they put the technical difficulty thing up in the corner, and it was just the in-game audio, and it was electric.
That's
because
cool.
it just made it like. Sometimes I love announcers and I love them explaining, but sometimes I'm like I really don't like. For some people, maybe they need things explained to them. I can keep track of what's happening almost all the time. Sometimes better than announcers, like with the Florida game.
Yeah.
When
Or-
they're calling incompletion.
Any of the games on SEC Network
Network
right now.
terrible.
where
At
they're-
least SEC Network's C team crew.
Even the Arkansas game was not great. We'll get into that later, in my opinion. But like I can keep track of what's going on because if you if I see a ref coming into the screen, I can look at him and I know all the signals. I know what's happening. So like I don't need announcers all the time. I do enjoy them because some of them are really entertaining. But sometimes it's fun to just have the in-game audio and just like I don't know. It's a cool experience.
Yeah.
And it really makes it not immersive, but a little bit of like it's just like
It's cool.
yeah.
It's something they do at what's becoming more popular now. It's in mainly only the big cities. It's called like Coliseum or whatever it is.
I think I know what you're talking
with
about.
the big projector screen, and
Yeah.
it's like they have a camera there, which is essentially like if you were in the crowd, and they just play the crowd noise through that camera. That is really cool. I want to go to. It's Coliseum or something. COSM. But that stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I really liked that experiment from ESPN. They are making some good moves. Although the weekend in a whole was a bunch of BS because of their main move, which is trying to shell out more money from YouTube TV and forcing people to try and buy their app.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Sucks.
if you look at their app sucks, and they're terrible at promoting it because if you click on ESPN, you click on to like go and download the app, it's an ad right before it, and on the screen is Mississippi State versus Arkansas. It's like of the scores, like if you were like gonna click on a game to watch it on the ESPN Watch, it's the Mississippi State Arkansas game between Mike Wright, Zach Arnett, and Sam Pittman and KJ Jefferson. That is like the game. I don't know if you saw that. I sent that
I
in the
did
chat.
not.
I will.
Yep. I
When
did
did you
see
send
it.
that?
I'll pull up the picture real quick. It is diabolical. I'd sent it in the chat. And I said, "Is this a sign?" Because it was showing it. That was one of the games they're promoting. Is our 7?
That's
or-
absurd.
Our 10 to whatever 3 victory over Arkansas, or 7-3. I'm pretty sure our last SEC win before yesterday. So they're terrible at promoting it as well. And of course, still the YouTube TV stuff was
My biggest gripe-
catastrophic.
My biggest gripe with ESPN is they promote a multi-view. Like if you're in the ESPN app, I have it on like the TV, like whatever Fire TV. And so I, go. I'm like, oh, sick multi-view. It's all hockey games, and you can't customize it. I'm like, I pay for ESPN Plus, and I've got Dish, so I've got all the channels. I'm logged in. I've got everything. I can access everything. Why won't you let me put the games that I'm paying to watch on the screen at the same time?
Yeah.
But you'll let me watch all the hockey I want. So that's really, I appreciate that. I'm just pretty frustrated with ESPN, and I hope that people do not buy into Hulu Plus Live TV looks really easy. I'm just going to go do that because that's just...
Their app has never been good. It's never been seamless. It's always just been impossible. You can't rewind. You can't do any of that. Their multi-view is obviously, like you said, not like YouTube TV's in any capacity. It's really hard to find stuff on there. You can't turn on a game until like 3 minutes into the game because then it's finally live. So like if you're trying to watch Mississippi State baseball play, you have to wait until like almost the end of the first inning before you can then finally get the game on because then it's finally live. It's so
goofy.
For it being 2025 and now almost 2026, an app should not, of that capacity of ESPN, should not be that hard to use, and yet it is. And now they want to shell out YouTube TV, probably the biggest cable provider there is right now.
Are we calling them a cable provider now since they were the replacement for cable?
I would call them, yeah.
Yeah, they are realistically. They are a cable provider.
It's BS. And that was catastrophic and terrible the entire weekend. As we'll get into, I watched the Mississippi State game on a YouTube live stream. And I watched the ABC games on MEF streams, which shout out to MEF streams.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I've been becoming very well acquainted with the sources out there you can use to access.
There's plenty of them. There's also what are you on right now? You don't have to show yourself out, I guess, but
I don't want to get them blacklisted,
That's another one. Sadly, Stream East was taken down. That would have been a perfect weekend for it, but
when are we going to get these? One of these services is going to start doing multi-view.
That would be
would be electric.
Well, you could just make it, since it's not like your PC, you can just make it into 4 screens.
But
and
they
have
don't.
4 different.
They don't fill up the.
They don't fill up the.
Which is unfortunate.
Good.
It'd be like a 16th of the screen.
It's good, but not great. Yeah.
And then even now there's more like YouTube live streams, like I watched yesterday, but like TikTok Live, you can just watch a guy who's watching it, who just has a camera of his TV. I've been. Also on TikTok, you have people who are live streaming, trying to sell a projector while projecting like Monday Night Football, and they're trying to sell a projector through the TikTok shop.
Yeah,
by showing it playing Monday Night Football.
Wow,
it's hilarious.
Electric.
That's good stuff.
So there are multiple ways to watch games. I might watch Monday Night Football doing that tomorrow, since that won't be on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
But that is, I still think, for me, the biggest takeaway from the weekend as we wrap up our week.
Yeah.
Week 9 takeaways. Week 10
takeaways.
Yeah.
Man,
there was
season is flying by.
I know you don't want to talk about the Duke Clemson game.
5 losses, first time since 2010. Kate Klubnik was pretty reactionary and reflective in his post-game conference. Just the way the loss occurred. Even my Nana was not happy about it. She was texting me. I think she literally said, so I always say Falcon's gonna Falcon. I'm pretty sure she said Tiger's gonna Tiger. No, she said just another day in Tiger Town after Duke ends up winning that 46-45. An impressive offensive performance.
It was insane. I think the
secondary
over-under was supposed to be 55.5.
Cooking.
Over-under was 55.5, and they finished, it was like 90.
46-45, so nearly both teams did it themselves, outscoring that total.
Yeah.
That'll be a buy and sell later on, but we'll talk about Clemson maybe making a bowl game.
Yeah.
Even, which is diabolical, considering people picked them to win the national championship.
I
picked them to be in the national championship.
Yeah, me too. It felt like, some of the plays kind of felt like watching the Dallas Cowboys defense, just like wide open guys because cornerbacks aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, or maybe they are and the guy who's supposed to slide over isn't there. They gave up 2 touchdowns, 2 plays, 79 yards, 34 seconds. Another one, 7 plays, 75 yards, 50 touchdowns. 50
touchdowns.
seconds.
Man, that's
Feels
impressive.
that way.
7 plays, 75 yards, 50 seconds for a touchdown. I think there were like 3 or 4 plays on that drive of 10-plus yards. So it was just like the big stuff. And there were so many reasons Clemson should have won that game. They dominated time of possession, 35-25, but they just couldn't get a stop, and then they do get robbed. I have not seen an angle of that offensive pass interference or
Defensive pass
interference that looked like defensive pass interference. I was actually pretty confident it was going to be
Picked up.
no. What was it? Because it was on. I thought it was going to be offensive pass interference at least. I was definitely not expecting defensive pass interference, but wild. And we'll talk about refs a lot more in a few minutes on this show, but just an unfortunate showing from the referees.
Officiating is excellent, man, in this sport.
It's. I mean, hey,
highly scuffed.
it does mean more in some conferences, and we'll get into that. But a really unfortunate loss for Clemson. But it kind of irrelevant. You're not going to fire Dabo, so like, there's nothing else really to talk about.
I mean, maybe this could just be like the off-season takeaway for just a minute of me blabbering. It feels like this would then be a make or break off season.
Yeah.
It feels like you have to hit the transfer portal hard. You have to rely on that because I don't think you have your quarterback of the future in house.
Sure.
So at least that needs to be hit.
Can I ask it? So before you move on to your other stuff,
Sure.
transfer portal. Why does he have to hit the transfer portal? Because it's how you acquire talent. And talent is not what Clemson's lacking. What Clemson is lacking is probably coaching. It's got to be coaching. I know our friend Duncan, a huge Clemson fan, has complained about Dabo's primary goal being like development and keeping guys in house, and that goes to coaching staff. Like, I've seen the list of coaching staff at Clemson, and like, you know, if they've got the school logo next to them, it's a bunch of orange paws. It's a bunch of Clemson guys who he's promoted to positions on the coaching staff, and that worked. You won 2 national championships doing that, but it kind of feels like he's been swinging and missing, giving those guys opportunities.
Sure.
But
And
I mean,
so-
he brings in the Penn State guy to remedy that this season doesn't work.
Right.
I think. No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Okay, I'll go and then you go. You're the Clemson
Yeah.
guy, so you can fix my the flaws with my statement.
Probably I'm going to end up agreeing with you.
In the transfer portal era, the depth of teams isn't there at all, and so you have to supplement that depth in the transfer portal. And so if you don't do that, we talked about how talented this Clemson team is, but as guys have gotten hurt and there's just not guys to fill in, or if one of them doesn't pan out, there's no one there to step up because the rosters are no longer deep. We've talked about a ton with Georgia, a bunch with Alabama, and it's the same thing at Clemson, and they're not trying to backfill with the transfer portal like Georgia and Alabama are.
A couple things on that. For starters, all the hype coming into the season, like Penn State, was that it was because there was a bunch of returning talent.
Yeah.
And at least, I wouldn't say it's a common misconception, but it can be a misconception that just because guys return, that means they'll be better than they were last year. Well, if you have a bunch of returning talent on a Clemson team that was 9-3 and barely scraped by winning the ACC championship and barely made the playoff, if the talent doesn't improve, like a lot of people were expecting, including myself, then it's just, again, a 9-3 and maybe even worse because the ball can bounce the other way in other big games this year like it did in the Georgia Tech game and it did against Duke on Saturday. And so if there isn't not an incursion, if there isn't more talent that comes in or at least more new guys that come in through the portal, then nothing is going to change from last year if there's no development from last year's guys to this year, which has been the case.
Yeah.
So that's one reason I would like the transfer portal to have been used to any capacity whatsoever, which it hasn't been. The other one is I don't want him to just go out and full-fledged use the transfer portal because Florida State is an example of it can work and it could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do that. But you can't tell me that there aren't guys out there that fit the culture that you try to create there at Clemson, which is, BYOB, bring your own bus, or bring your own guts, BYOG, guys that just fight, guys that feel like they're undervalued always, that love to use that trope. Even though Clemson at times was one of the best teams in the country, they still felt like, oh, we're the underdogs. No one is going to pick us. Everyone doubts us. You can't tell me that there aren't 5 to 10 guys out there in the portal that don't have to be the best players talent-wise, but are pretty good, can be an infusion of new guys, new ways of thinking, new ways of playing, and yet still fit your culture there at Clemson that you like and that you love, that you want to continue to infuse. That, if he believes that isn't possible, I completely disagree with him. That is what I want. I want you bring in some new faces, some fresh faces, maybe help with depth, as Jack was talking about. But 2, there has to be guys out there that fit the culture when they get to Clemson. That there's been so many different cases of that in general in the transfer portal of guys that just, it just makes a lot more sense that he's here now than he was there. He didn't make any sense there. He's here now. It makes a lot more sense. Oh, that guy's a Tiger.
Yeah,
he's not a Seminole. That guy's a Tiger. So I want him to do that, and this feels like an off season to do that because, like I said, it's a lot of returning talent. They haven't been healthy in a couple of spots, and there was no development from anybody,
which is
really anybody,
which is really unexpected because I think what separates you from Penn State is Penn State returned like a lot of juniors and seniors and their running backs and their quarterback, and they bring in a couple transfer wide receivers who are experienced, like Pena, I believe, was a junior or senior.
Yes.
Clemson was a bunch of freshmen going to sophomores and sophomores going to juniors. So it is just shocking, the lack of development and disappointing for everybody because I thought they were going to be a fun team to watch. But I will not make us dwell on that any longer unless you had something.
No, I'm good.
All right. Now we can get into the longest part of the show. Last week it took 45 minutes. What do we think the over-under will be this week?
32 and a half minutes.
Okay. I'll take the under.
Sure. Starting at 112.
Yep.
Jack, you can take us away.
They've done it, ladies and gentlemen. They've done it. The Mississippi State Bulldogs have their first SEC win under Jeff Lebby as JP rings the cowbell. And it was hairy. Arkansas had 2 touchdown leads, multiple points in this game, including in the fourth quarter. But they found a way to get it done. Blake Shapen hits Anthony Evans, who then breaks a tackle and finds the end zone with about 40 seconds left. And the defense holds as Mississippi State comes out of Fayetteville with a 38-35 win. I've already said it, but it's their first SEC win in 2 years. Massive one for the program. You can see how much it meant to the boys after the game, and it meant to Jeff Lebby after the game.
Oh, yeah.
But y'all's thoughts on this game?
Before I get into thoughts, just like a recap on game flow, because so much happened in this game.
Yeah.
I think it was either Paul Jones or Steve Robertson asked Lebby about it, and his question started with well, Coach, you kind of felt like you played 3 games out there today, because it really did feel that way. With the first half was Shapen, Camario's third quarter, and then Shapen in that entire fourth quarter. It really felt like we watched 3 games being played yesterday on Saturday. State on their first drive, which feels like decades ago considering everything emotionally that happened in that game. On first and second down, they had 2 yards on 8 plays, just 2 yards. On third and fourth down, 61 yards and 15 due to a penalty on 5 plays. Just a diabolical
Get
drive.
used to hearing that word penalty. You're going to hear that a lot.
Yeah, penalty, but just a diabolical first drive. The thing that has hurt us the most the entire season has been third and long. And on third and long, essentially every single time, 61 yards, 15 due to a penalty on 5 plays. But that drive, just in general, was crazy too. Excuse me. You have Brennan Thompson, who made the crazy catch, barely scraping it off the ground, which Brennan Thompson was incredible all day. He does essentially a very similar catch later in the game. Fluff out of the backfield, his first game back, makes a big play, leaking out on fourth down. You have the roughing the passer call. And then Booth gets a one-on-one with a corner and just dusts him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Walks into the end zone untouched.
It was a bad look for the corner.
Yeah, it was not
Flat
a good
foot.
look. Devon Booth is not also not the quickest guy.
No.
He got beat one-on-one. And that was the first drive after Arkansas had some big plays on that first drive, but the holding penalty, again, another penalty, held them back. There was also moments in the first half like Devon Booth being saved by the fair catch rule because he calls for a fair catch. He fumbles it into the end zone. He's not sure if he can take a knee or not, which technically he could have because the ball was dead anyway. He returns it, gets it out to the 13. We're saved by the fair catch rule. On the very next play, Anthony Evans catches a pass, fumbles the ball because it got punched out, but Seydou Traore recovers the fumble.
I was watching Traore more on that play actually than Anthony Evans, just because his blocking for some reason stood out to me because it was like he's upfield blocking, Anthony Evans passes him, and I was like, oh, there goes Traore. He's going to pass him by, and then the ball pops out, and he just like sprints back into screen. So it was very fortunate that for some reason that was the play. I just like didn't watch the ball carrier. So I saw that whole thing develop through like the guy that recovered its point of view, which was pretty wild.
It's just it's a huge momentum escape, especially it's just a huge swing that could have happened in the first half. Arkansas was uber efficient. Taylon Green was 14 for 19 for 165 for a touchdown, 10 carries for 33 yards. Malik Washington was 9 carries for 44 yards. Arkansas had 253 total yards. State had 122. So doubled us up. State could literally not run the ball whatsoever. And Arkansas also had the momentum really right before going to the half with a 3rd and 20 with 17 seconds left. A big completion to Sharp, who had a big game, puts them in field goal range. Uber efficient. Arkansas really dominated us outside of State's first drive. And yet, they only led by 6. State comes out, gets the ball first drive. It's a huge one. First play is a shot to Evans. We don't catch it. It's in double coverage. Chapin takes the huge hit. He gets knocked on his backside. Clearly one of your textbook concussion kind of plays. It's a roughing the passer. He doesn't get pulled until right before we're about to snap the ball on 1st and 10 again. But he gets pulled for concussion. The whole part of that didn't make any sense. It felt like maybe we're just getting cuts to him from the camera that just didn't make sense. Because apparently he went into the tent multiple times, but we were never shown that.
Every time it was just him standing there with his helmet on.
We were never shown that at all on the broadcast, so we were really confused because if we're going through concussion protocol, why is he not in the tent? Apparently, again, he went into the tent multiple times.
Well, it's the SEC network broadcast, like the B or C team. So
yes, which, again, they were terrible. Again, more on that later. Camario comes in. On Camario's drive, he has a run for 6. He runs for the first. Bothwell has a carry that was big, and then he hits a 45-yard strike on the post route to Anthony Evans. The touchdown is upheld after footage from a 3DS is too grainy to tell, which if you don't know, go watch that Anthony Evans touchdown. They try to show like the pylon cam, and it literally looks like it was recorded on a potato.
Underwater, zoomed in.
Yes, it was really bad. Anthony Evans was short, but we couldn't overturn it because you just couldn't tell.
Yeah.
You could not tell where anything was. Also, with that, the SEC crew, while they're reviewing that, is convinced that Brylan Lanier is Anthony Evans.
Yep.
And they showed him twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even in a moment when he turns around and you see his nameplate say Lanier. And they go back to him again. And so Brylan Lanier is shown on there for 30 seconds. His reaction to whether or not the touchdown is overturned, even though Anthony Evans was the one who scored it.
And then we had the biggest pause moment of the day out here, as Sanders says, it's obviously not Anthony Evans because Anthony Evans has very striking eyes.
Okay, I look at our roster a lot. Like I study our depth chart and stuff, and I know
He
our players.
studies those eyes.
Have
He
you
gets lost
have
in
you
them.
seen his headshot?
Yes, I know what he looks like. Yes, that's a fair take, but
Thank you.
that's definitely a pause.
It's because I'm like he's one of the most like noticeable, in my opinion, like noticeable
Sanders
players.
gets lost in those eyes.
That is funny.
He's one of the most noticeable players on the roster, in my opinion. And so to just be like, oh, well, this is clear. And I also just know our roster like really well. And so
Sure.
unfortunately for the cameraman, they do not clearly. I know what Anthony Evans looks like, which maybe I should be the cameraman going forward. No. It was a tough look for them for sure doing that.
It was a really bad look. Camario again comes in. He leads a decent drive past midfield, can't convert on 4th down. He gets another chance, is able to drive down the field, scrambles for a big touchdown. And then somehow Chapin fought apparently really hard to get back there on the field, which, as he should. It's that classic meme of the starting quarterback watching the backup play, and then the backup's playing really well, and so he's concerned about his job.
Yeah. He's pretty good for a backup.
Yeah.
No, he's playing well.
Yeah,
overall.
he doesn't want to celebrate too hard because he
Yeah.
realizes his future is passing him by right in front of him. And somehow, Blake Chapin is thrown back into the game, which amazed, shocked, whatever word you want to use there, everybody. The announcers, our teams in the media, Brian Haydad, Robbie Falk, us, I would assume Arkansas fans, I would assume people in the stadium. And the very first pass from Blake Chapin is thrown a little high, but Anthony Evans with his striking eyes can't look it in.
Yeah.
It's
just
tips over his
Chapin got
hand.
lost in those eyes throwing it to him. He was like,
Apparently.
oh, he's open. Oh, man, those eyes. And then in that split moment, it just sails a little bit.
Sails a little bit, tipped off of Evans. It's picked. Very first play, Chapin comes into the game. Arkansas goes down the field, scores a touchdown. It's 21-35. And now Chapin's job is on the line for sure. And I think potentially Levy's job was on the line at that point as well.
100%. When you bench the guy who's playing really well,
Yes.
for the guy who's made some questionable decisions and missed some big time throws throughout the season, when you're like so confident in your judge of your quarterbacks that you have available that you bench the guy that's playing well, like that is your job on the line, in my opinion.
And from there, Levy and Chapin secure their jobs by leading 3 straight scoring drives, 9 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown, 8 plays, 43 yards for a field goal, and 10 plays, 69 yards for a touchdown. Big shout out to the defense because in between those 3 drives are a 4-and-out punt, a 4-and-out punt, and a 4-and-out turnover on downs for the Arkansas offense that have been cooking the defense all day, as they do against really any defense in the country. That's how good Taylor Green and that offense can be. And the Bulldogs pull off a miracle, and to the tune of Hunchback of Notre Dame or Notre Dame, depending on who you ask.
Mixed
Anthony
with How to
Evans,
Train Your Dragon.
Correct. I forgot to mention that.
No, Test Flight.
Yes. Anthony Evans scores the game-winning touchdown on 4th and 5, and the Dogs get their first SEC win. And now, unless you have some more things from the game, we can go to takeaways.
Yeah, I've got a couple things from the game that you hit on, but I just wanted to reaffirm how kind of crazy it is. First of all, you said the first half we finished with 12 rushing yards.
Yes.
Against an Arkansas team that allowed 200 a game all season. So there were a lot of concerns there. Why were we not able to get any run game going? Not excuses, but some of the realism is missing. Albert Reese is a possible harmful. Fluff Bothwell playing, but maybe not at 100%. Maybe that's a reason the run game struggled to get going. But that was a big concern kind of going into the second half. We scored 7 points against Arkansas's defense, who has kind of been the butt of a bunch of defensive jokes because they can't play defense. But their offense is good enough to keep them in games. They lose to A&M by 3, but defensively they're just not good.
They had been giving up
bad.
40.1 points per game against Power 4 teams.
Yeah.
Including, if you include Memphis in that, which is essentially a Power 4 team. 40.1 points per game. We were on pace for 14 at halftime.
Yeah. And then another thing, because I don't want us I want to not defend Blake Chapin. I just want to say this. Kamario Taylor came in and played well, but on the drive he doesn't score a touchdown. He does miss an open guy on, I think, was it 3rd down or 4th? Did we go
on
for it on
4th down?
down?
He technically misses Aiden Williams throwing it to Seydoux.
And then he also misses the deep shot where he overthrows it to the safety.
The post route.
And the dart to Anthony Evans was a little underthrown. I just don't want us to get lost in the, oh my gosh, Kamario Taylor played perfect. Yeah. Because I don't think that's fair to him. That sets expectations too high if he plays again. Like Tucker said it really well.
Yes.
Every time I see Kamario Taylor play, it reinforces the idea that he's going to be great, but he's not ready yet. he came in, and without him, we would not have won that game.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get lost in like the highlights, the 2 touchdowns, and forget that he's still a freshman and misses some throws and made some mistakes.
That being said, though, I still do agree with how people probably felt, which is why they were shocked. The game script called for him to continue playing.
It was clear Arkansas was not ready for the rushing quarterback.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And so it worked out. You won the game. But I think if Camario stays in, he continues to have great success on the ground the rest of the game.
We might have still won that game anyway.
Correct.
So it definitely could have been the same story, potentially, just better for Camario. Padlock stat of the game, Arkansas penalties, 18 penalties for 193 yards.
Yeah.
And I even tried to go
Ridiculous.
like, okay, let's just talk about the fourth quarter, but it still is like a lot of yards, and there were still a ton of penalties before that. But in the fourth quarter, which is where they choked the game away, they lost the fourth quarter 17-0. 15-yard roughing the passer on 2nd and 20. A 12-yard pass interference that gave State a 1st and goal. And then for their offense, a 10-yard holding on a 14-yard first down carry, taking away a first down, which would have helped them ice the clock out and potentially ice the game. A 15-yard, you have the 15-yard unnecessary roughness on a negative 5-yard rush by Devon Booth.
Yeah.
Where he takes Devon Booth again 10 yards further down the field and then suplexes him.
Slings him down. Was not a suplex.
No, he
Slung
suplexed him.
Slung him down.
He suplexed him. You have the 5-yard running into the kicker after Kyle Ferry missed the kick,
Yeah,
which gave us another chance. Kyle Ferry makes it. You have another 10-yard holding on another 13-yard first down carry, and then the intentional grounding to lose the game, which would have put you over 200 penalty yards, but because the game was over on that snap, the penalty yards did not go to
It wasn't over on that snap. We had to kneel it out.
That was, well, okay, never mind. Regardless, essentially 68 yards. I would say 68 yards. Definitely
Maybe
not
slightly
that.
less than that.
Well, technically it was, but I would round up to 68 yards personally of penalties in the fourth quarter. The Bulldogs are 5-1 in their last 6 trips to Fayetteville, which is crazy to even think that that's the truth. For me, I've got 3 narratives from this game about Mississippi State that I want to discuss. But are there any other takeaways before I get into those?
Not right now, but they might come up as we go. My brain doesn't recall information.
So the
like
first
it's a filing
one,
cabinet.
which has came from a lot of people over multiple weeks, a lot of burners on Twitter, friends of ours, even people here on set.
Sure.
Camario Taylor should start. Here's the positives for that. Led 2 touchdown drives on 3 attempts. Dangerous with his legs. Like Jack said, they weren't ready for a rushing quarterback. He has 6 carries for 56 yards and the 45-yard strike to Anthony Evans for a touchdown. But on the other side, he misses Booth where it was too hard on a check down. He misses Anthony
Almost
Evans.
intercepted.
Almost intercepted. Excuse me. He misses Anthony Evans down the field. Again, too far. Also could have been picked. He misses Aiden Williams open on the 4th down. He doesn't show the ability to throw a touch right now, and he's really reliant on his legs, really quick to scramble instead of get it out quickly. So there's your arguments on both sides there. Going forward, I obviously still Shapen should have the job. The future is bright with Camario, but I think there's too much on the negative side, or at least from a few moments in that game, to say Camario Taylor should start, which I still think is an opinion that people have. In fact, I know they do because I saw multiple occurrences of it on Twitter, even after the game. Some even to say Camario should start the rest of the year, also still fire Lebby after the Bulldogs won 38-35 from Davis Newton.
Bold.
They were also
I know him. That's crazy.
They were double-digit likes on that post.
Oh, dear.
I'll have one that I'll talk about with Blake Shapen here in a second, which is my second narrative. Blake Shapen is buns. Very common narrative for Mississippi State. Of course, he was 16 for 28, not efficient. His first play back was a pick off of a drop. He's not a runner, of course, was sacked twice in key moments. But 21-35, fourth quarter, his last 2 passes had been dropped by a receiver. It doesn't matter. He converts on a 3rd and 9 with a 33-yard seed to Anthony Evans, the best throw of the day by far, in between 3 guys. And he takes the roughing the passer on top of that, gets up, continues to lead the drive, hits Brennan Thompson for a first down. The Dogs get into field goal range, 31-35. And then the game-winning drive, a 32-yard dime to Brennan Thompson on 4th and 7. Perfect communication between receiver and quarterback. That's what trust is right there. Throwing it short of the receiver. Receiver knows, looks back for the ball, perfectly catches it on a back shoulder fade. Blake Shapen has the 8-yard carry. And then on 3rd and 5, which isn't being talked about because 4th and 5 was the play that won the game, he delivered a perfect ball to Aiden Williams. It hits Aiden Williams in the hands on the run. Aiden Williams drops it. And then on 4th and 5, the dime on the out route to Anthony Evans in the game winner. So there's your debate right there on Blake Shapen his buns. I know people still feel that way, but there were also examples that helped me in my argument as a Blake Shapen defender.
Sure.
Clearly, my last one, Jeff Lebby in the clutch, and I think this is the biggest one of the takeaways. On top of that is also like the fire Lebby, which I mentioned in that tweet as well. Camario scored 2 touchdowns on 3 drives. Why put Blake Shapen back in? And then he makes the mistake he again made against Texas twice. On 3rd and 7, on the last drive, he doesn't call timeout. On a critical play, 3rd and 7, we trail by 7, just under 6 minutes left on the Arkansas 17. He doesn't call timeout. He notices, and maybe he doesn't like the plays he has. He has walked up to the ref once again. He's standing next to the ref, ready to call the timeout. Doesn't call it. We take a false start. 3rd and 12, we get sacked. Literally the exact same thing that happened last week against Texas. But thankfully, Kyle Ferry makes the field goal, and we get points out of that drive. But we very easily could have not, because
Right.
Ferry had to kick a 54-yarder was the first one, and then a 49-yarder,
Something
or
like
it might
that.
have
I'm not
something
positive.
like that.
Yeah.
But to Lebby's defense, he learned from his mistakes the very following drive. But before that, just the ability to switch the play calling as soon as Camario had to come in, because he called a completely different game when Camario had to come in as opposed to Blake Shapen. He's calling more, obviously, quarterback runs.
Yeah.
Because that is Camario's strength. And then easy completions he's trying to find for him. And yet, the guts to put Blake Shapen back in a situation that made no sense. The guts to put Shapen back in again after Shapen throws an interception on the very first play. 4th quarter, down 14, 0-12 in the SEC play. Probably lost the entire fan base if we lose this game. Maybe loses his job. He calls 3 straight scoring drives. When it matters most, you have to play, of course, on 4th and 7. And then learning from your mistakes the drive prior. After a 2nd and 9 scramble from Blake Shapen to get to 3rd and 5, he calls timeout. Albeit, he called it 6 seconds too early. Or 7 seconds, one of the two.
Oh.
There was
We're good. We're good.
that. He should have called it at 50 seconds, but that's nitpicking.
Yeah.
He calls it at 57, I do believe. But he calls the timeout. He gets them into their best play. It doesn't work. He calls timeout again to discuss, to get them into the right spot, to get them in the right play. And finally, Jeff Lebby has gotten his first SEC win because of that. For me, those are the 3 biggest narratives of the game. There are arguments on both sides, which will make this coming Saturday very, very interesting. But congrats to State. Congrats to Jeff Lebby.
Sure.
The reactions in the locker room were everything. Emotional for a ton of players. A lot of dancing, as we predicted. We didn't see Jeff Lebby dancing. I didn't see a clip of that, at least.
I did not.
He just might not be a dancer.
It looked like a Chris Jan's Mississippi State locker room after a win. A lot of dancing. Game balls went to Malik Sila and Anthony Evans. Gig'em. And Blake Shapen. And then Shapen gave his game ball to Jeff Lebby.
They also, did you see the Brennan Thompson clip? Give one to Levy.
Yes, Brennan Thompson.
I think that was my favorite clip.
As well. Brennan Thompson was not frustrated this Saturday.
He was cheesing.
He was very, very happy. The Dogs are 5-4. I think the only thing out of those locker room celebrations is you maybe feel concern for the lack of recognition of Camario, but I'd assume that was recognized in some way.
Had to have been.
Because he recognized it in his post-game press conference.
Blake talked about in his post-game saying I think he gave his game ball to Camario.
Awesome.
I thought that was a clip. Maybe I was the only one that saw that. But yeah, Blake said, I believe in his post-game, or I saw it somewhere, that he got a game ball, but he gave it to KT. The takeaways, it was just a really great win. Seeing Blake Shapen takes that knee, they pan to Levy walking on the field for the handshakes, and he's got Isaac Smith with like a big arm around him, like giving him a hug. That was just really cool because I do love Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans and how quickly they've impacted the game, but there's something special about guys who've been here their whole careers. And I hope will either go to the NFL or play a fourth year and finish out their career here, right? They are dogs, start to finish. And so seeing him like the first guy to congratulate Lebby, the same way Camario was the first guy we saw on camera after the Arizona State win, it's just like, I don't know, it just feels really good that those are the guys that are representing our school because it's just, they're doing it really well. And they're really fun to watch. Stressful at times, but really fun to watch.
Dogs.
The cardiac dogs do often strike. Did you want to talk about those narratives? Because I know Jack said he had a thought. He said he wanted to offer.
I do want to say there's also one tweet that I wanted to read.
Sure, you can read the tweet and then I can.
From Clint Dixon III, Esquire, which is also tagged as. Despite Blake Shapen's best efforts, the Dogs win. Huh. Did he watch the fourth quarter? There was also double-digit likes on that tweet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because that kind of turns into my thing of like, and Tucker basically already said it, but like I love Camario. I think a lot of the success he had as a runner is real, and I do think a lot of it was matchup dependent and what Arkansas had game planned for.
Yeah.
And so I would just have full confidence that Shapen's still the right guy going forward. He came back in and won you the game. The pick was not on him.
Not at all.
I think it texted to y'all, but it was like, oh, the discourse is about to be crazy after he threw that. But Anthony Evans has to catch that.
Yeah.
Simply has to. You can say it was a little high. It was a little high, but you have to catch that football. And he gets the job done. And, I mean, I don't know if I'd say I'm a Shapen defender. I get being really excited about Camario, but the hate is crazy for a guy that finally just won you y'all's first SEC game in 2 years. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Shapen is going to be the guy come Saturday.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
He won y'all the game.
Yeah.
He won State the game. If he didn't win you the game, different conversations, but he won the game.
Trying to think. Okay. This is something, and Jack, so the game is wrapping up, or not wrapping up. We are mounting our comeback, and at one point I said to Jack, and I was definitely getting ahead of myself, but I was like, even if we win this game, I don't know how good it's going to feel, given the refereeing. It felt great. I was, I feel great about the win. I'm very glad that we won, and it was awesome to get celebrated, and I went crazy.
I don't hate any of the calls, though.
There were bad calls.
Okay, so the game finishes, and I've done my whooping and hollering, jumping up and down, celebrating. I'm sitting down, enjoying it, and I look over at Jack, probably like 30 minutes after the game, and he's like, I think everyone had left, and it was me and him and Wynn hanging out, and he was like, yeah, I wasn't really gonna say anything, but like the rest, like that was atrocious, and I was like, oh, I'm aware.
You brought it up first.
Yeah,
I said I'm not gonna say anything because I'll get labeled a hater. I
was like, you are not gonna be labeled a hater. The refereeing, JP, was atrocious. They did not referee that game equally at all. the
State was allowed to
unnecessary
be-
roughness that went our way, and then the one that didn't go Arkansas's way was egregious. That was bad.
State was allowed to be physical to and through the whistle, and Arkansas was not allowed that same
Courtesy.
Thank you.
The
Talking about
the late hit on your suplex, like we can't hear whistle. Maybe there was a whistle.
Well, I mean, you can see the ref. He goes to blow the whistle. The whistle just gets up to his mouth as the Arkansas guy is swinging him down.
Which we've talked on this show before about playing to the whistle, right?
Sure.
Whoever was it, Booth that he was tackling, was
Yes.
still trying to get out of the tackle up until the point where he threw him to the ground. So he's playing to the whistle. That gets called a flag.
And if you want to flag that, that's fine. But then when the Arkansas guy's getting tackled 8 yards out of bounds,
Yeah.
you need to throw the same flag.
That wasn't a flag though. It was a continuation. He was already engaged.
Continuation?
He throws him to the ground. He just
threw him to
like
the
he
ground.
throws him to
Okay.
the ground.
It was a continuation of the motion he was already in, and he touches.
There's
him
extra
before
at the end. There's
he
extra
touches.
You
at
think-
the
Well,
end.
because he
You
was
think-
falling forward with momentum.
You think
There's
that
a difference
we committed
in
4 penalties yesterday?
Yes, because that's how it was ref, man. Like I don't know what you want to tell. I don't
want you
because
to,
I
don't want you to
don't disagree with the calls that I saw. That one is I don't think it was unnecessary roughness on us because when he first creates contact, they are both in bounds, and it is a continuation of the momentum of what had been occurring. It's different from the suplex because he literally has to take Booth and twist him and turn him.
Because there's not been a whistle yet.
That
and
is
Booth
not
is
the
fighting.
momentum was what the way he was going forward. He's going forward, and then he has to take him and twist him and throw him to the ground.
Momentum's one thing if the tackle happens 2 yards out of bounds. When it's 8,
He also
and he's
tackled
still
him 10
coming
yards
him
down the field.
The biggest one to me is when Taylor Green slides and gets clocked in the head, and
Yep.
they don't throw a flag on
Didn't
that
throw a flag for that one. That was kind of rough.
unnecessary roughness, which they're throwing that all the freaking time. That's the one that I really think. And
Can't recall how that one went out the top of my head.
Taylor
was
Green just
scrambles
slides, and
to
the
the
state
right.
guy comes through, and Taylor just takes, I believe, a knee to the head as the state guy's coming through.
Like the state guy goes over him, but he doesn't clear him. He makes contact with him.
Pretty severe contact to the head. to
Look,
where-
I think that one could have gone either way. Honestly, I think that
I
one could
don't
have gone
know
either
about
way.
that.
Sliding
When-
quarterbacks. Breaking news: sliding quarterbacks no longer protected when
Which a
JP's
lot of
in
it
back.
is-
when because if you're going to continue, I think there was a middle ground there. I think he had already been in. He was already diving towards him before Taylor Green had slid. And if we're just going to call it whenever it happens on the
Taylor
slide,
Green was already fully down and he gets
Then-
hit in the head.
Agreed. But that is with a very slowed down camera.
Yeah.
Sure, but
If-
they don't
if
ever
we're gonna
they don't
call
ever
that
call it
one-
like that.
Okay.
If there's contact to the QB that's on the ground, they're throwing the
Okay,
flag.
well then Josh Allen should have got 15 yards earlier today when he got hit on the
he
head.
didn't get hit in the head
He literally got hit on the head
He get-
with a hand. He got hit on the head with a
with the
hand.
hand. That knee is big difference. The biggest thing to me is it's like Taylor Green gets hurt because he's a 6'5" physical unit, and Blake
Hits on him
Shapen
don't look the
has
same.
wimpy white boy syndrome and is getting
Was that not targeting?
huh?
Was that not targeting?
No, but if you're gonna, I was targeting. He gets hit with the crown of the helmet to the helmet.
Wasn't he a runner at the time? Was he not a runner?
I'm pretty sure he was.
He was a
running,
runner.
yes.
But you take crown of the helmet to the face mask, someone's helmet, you're getting called
Yeah.
targeting.
That should have been called. I don't like that that's called targeting because Blake lowers his head as well. I think that's a stupid way that rule's handled, but we don't have to get into that.
All that to say, Arkansas should have had 13 penalties instead of 19, and State should have had 6 instead of 4, and there were many more reasons Arkansas lost the game than the penalties.
I really think that we're calling penalties that I think are there's some difference there because the penalties that I thought mattered are the 2 holding calls on first down carries in the fourth quarter that are completely different.
The missed roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness on the slide is the big one to me because that extends that drive.
Sure.
And it might have ended up being a 3 and out on that possession, and y'all get ball back. But example, like running into the kicker that almost directly loses in the game because Ferry misses the kick.
Yes.
And then it would have been a tie game when they get the ball back. But instead, you're an idiot for trying to block a 50-yarder or whatever it was. Like, let the college
if that's
kicker.
going to get blocked, it's going to get blocked at the line because you have to angle it down so low to
Yeah.
get the distance. Like
Yes.
you're not coming around the corner on that one.
Let the college kicker take the 50-yarder and just make him make it.
Yeah.
So it was bad, but
I don't disagree with Tucker either, with what he said. As a State fan, he's confident that we've been screwed enough by the refs that he's going to be okay with it potentially going our way for the first time in a millennium.
I am okay with it. I
think Bobby P has real reason to gripe the way he did in the presser.
I just recognize that the refereeing was atrocious in our favor. I'm okay with it because it happens. It's happened against us. But the reality is it was atrocious.
For me, though, I don't think that my biggest feeling is the refereeing was not the reason that we won the game because of blown calls. My most traumatic moment ever revolves around a referee where a pass interference is not called.
Yeah.
That changed the entire game.
Yeah.
That I understand feeling griping about. I understand maybe being upset about a penalty here and there, but at the end of the day, they still committed so many that they cost themselves the game.
Yeah.
They are the one that cooked all day offensively and then again got into the fourth quarter and went cold again. You don't commit some of these you don't put yourself in situations to commit these kinds of penalties if you aren't being coached properly.
Yeah.
If you don't have discipline being enforced within your team. And so you are put in situations, you put yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
And then you put the onus on a referee whether or not to make the right judgment in a split second. And so that, for me, is the reason they lost the game. State still went out and won the damn game, too.
I agree. State won the game.
One other thing that was crazy, talking about the broadcast and everything, they were constantly putting flags on the score bug very late, and so it would literally be we would get off the field on third down going into fourth, and I'd be sitting there are there any flags? I was not comfortable until the punt had left the punter's hand, because I feel like they were dropping late flags, and maybe it was just a score bug, and then. And Andrew's right. We shouldn't feel sorry for Arkansas fans. We went out and took advantage of the way the game was called.
The only person I feel sorry for is Taylon Green.
Yeah, and the big reason the big reason I don't feel sorry for Arkansas fans is the one of the cleanest tackles of the game, in my opinion, the sack on the intentional grounding. They're posting screenshots trying to be face mask, horse collar, roughing the passer, and I'm he had the ball, he started the tackle. He intentionally grounded the ball, did not get it to the line of scrimmage, or wasn't. I don't remember. I think that was the situation, and so they
correct.
And
that was a great tackle.
Cried.
But I probably had a 15-second rant because that referee walks up to that quarterback so slow, and he looks at the offense. And I was a little nervous given the way I didn't think the game had been refereed well. I did not think that they were. It was just a weird game being refereed. If it's 18-4, I think that's always going to be weird because there's very rarely a situation where one team commits 18 penalties and the other team commits 4. It's college football. That doesn't really happen very
one
often.
team is just much better than the other.
Yeah,
not this game.
State
anyway.
magically fixes all discipline
but
issues.
But that referee walks up.
That's the biggest
yeah,
gap of all time.
I'm lying.
The referee walks up. The referee walks up. He looks at Taylon Green on the ground, looks at offensive lineman, looks around, and drops that flag. And I exploded because I thought he was about to call roughing the passer because they had been acting weird about physicality all game.
Yeah.
And I yelled at that TV for probably 20 seconds, and then they call intentional grounding. I was like, my bad. I didn't know you were like that. That's on me.
That was cinema from the ref. He did such a good job. Just walks up as casual as can be and just flips it out of his pocket
in hindsight,
right next to Taylon
he
Green.
Was looking to the referee on the sideline to see did the ball get to the line
correct.
of scrimmage. I did not realize that in my rage, so I lost it.
It was also one of the things, too, of rationally, you think intentional grounding, but you go from celebrating to seeing the flag, and you immediately think,
worst case.
Sure, they could have called roughing passer, but even my thought was oh, did he grab the face mask and I just missed it, or something like that? And then I was like, oh, wait, it's intentional grounding, and then they were like, oh, yeah, it's intentional grounding. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
So, we got the dub. I can't wait for this weekend. There's going to be a lot of Georgia fans because there were a lot of Georgia fans 2 years ago. It's just teams travel here. I am excited. I think the student section is going to be full yet again. I really hope that the home side is full, and I hope that the upper decks are full. We've got game day. We've got Barstool as well, apparently.
SEC Nation.
Thank you.
Game
SEC
day be
Nation,
crazy.
SEC Nation.
No, game day is going to the better game with the better team.
Yeah.
Our other team.
Go Cougs.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. It's gonna be a great weekend.
Sure. Shall we move on?
Let's. What did we? It was at 112. So 30.
My line was 32.5, and we just hit the under.
No, we're at the over.
We're at the over.
Was it at
30
118?
I thought it was
112.
112.
I thought it was at 118.
So I was
Okay,
wrong.
never
I took
mind.
the under, but we were over by like 5 minutes. So it was a
Okay.
pretty good line.
Yeah. All
Never
right.
mind.
Hail State. Let's move on. We got 3 more games to
That we do.
review. I think this is in order of kickoff, and so the next game that would have been Vandy at Texas,
Yeah.
and then we still have Oklahoma, Tennessee. We didn't talk about this game, Georgia, Florida.
All good.
Oh well.
Congrats, Georgia.
Shma. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
Sweet Prince Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores make their way to the barren wasteland, not actually, but of Austin, Texas, to play the Texas Longhorns. And boy, do they get punched in the mouth. Swing pass to Ryan Wingo gets taken to the house. Vandy misses a tackle, which was a theme all night. They ended up missing 20 tackles. Not night, it was in the morning. And then Pavia gets strip sacked on the next play, or the next drive, and Texas scores again, and they mount a huge lead. Vandy storms all the way back, can't quite recover the onside kick late, and they lose by 3, 31-34. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Yeah, that onside kick, I don't think you saw it live. I think I watched you watch the replay.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was so close.
He had it, and then his own teammate knocked it out, which I
Yeah.
get it. Like, you're just...
Yeah, everyone's just jumping on the ball,
Correct.
trying to grab, and it ends up getting punched out, which is really tough for Vanderbilt. I think my biggest takeaway is, like, really good game by Diego Pavia. Kind of unfortunate that it comes in a loss, and then last week he posted the stat line he had in a win. But it was really, like, great game by both quarterbacks. No interceptions. 700 yards passing between the two of them, almost. I think it's like 365 and 328. So that comes out to like it's close to 700 passing yards. 6 touchdowns, 3 each, and then they both completed over 70% of their passes. And Pavia adds 14 carries for 43 yards and another touchdown. So a really like great game by both quarterbacks.
I'm sorry.
Am I wrong?
Are you going to say Arch had a great game?
Statistically, yes. A lot of that stuff was after the catch, but get it to your weapons.
He had the easiest job on Saturday, including...
Get it to your weapons. That's what they should have been doing this
he
whole time.
had an easier
I agree.
job than I did,
That was
sitting
my
on the
game
couch
plan
watching.
for Texas going into the game.
It's really crazy how like kind of evenly matched this. It comes down to, in my opinion, Texas goes 5 for 5 in the red zone, and Vanderbilt goes 2 for 3. I believe one of their red zone drives ends up being a missed field goal. Which do they complete that field goal? It ends up being
Texas
tied,
missed a
goes
field
to
goal
overtime.
too.
Outside the red zone though.
Yeah,
So
it was
it's
like a 41-yarder. We got to be hitting those.
yeah. But
It's a layup.
Vanderbilt is not able to go 100% in the red zone. Texas does. And then Texas scoring on their first 6 possessions was just really tough because Vanderbilt, with the way they play, I jokingly call them like the Georgia Tech of the SEC. With the I just don't really think they're a from behind high scoring team. They love to use that quarterback run, and quarterback run is not really great when you're trying to put a lot of points really fast and hang with a high-scoring offense. It's much better when you're going slow, you've got a lead, you're chewing clock, trying to scramble, gain 5-6 yardage, get the first down. And so letting Texas score in the first 6 drives was not great. Not unexpected, but it was just going to be really hard.
You know what? I mean, this was my race to 20 game, so shout out that.
Was it actually?
Yes.
I do, yeah.
It was.
0 for 3. You obviously can't let Texas score in the first 6 drives. I will say the fact that Vandy got down so much actually helped their offense because all their run game misdirection stuff
Not
was
working.
just too slow developing against a team like Texas. They got into the backfield and blew it up way too fast.
I think maybe it was Stats of War, and if it wasn't, I'm sorry to whoever tweeted this, but they said Texas finally figured out the best way to stop this slow developing offense is just hit the quarterback really hard and really early.
Yeah, it just the Vandy offense, Texas's defense was just too good for it. And when they started scoring is when Pavia had to just say screw it and let it air out. Golly, we suck.
That's a tough one.
The Commanders,
So-
was that a fumble?
Yes, a fumble on the kick return.
Wow.
For me, I thought the key to the game actually was what I talked about in our Texas preview for the Texas versus Mississippi State game which was protecting the quarterback. Pavia was sacked 7 times before this Saturday all season.
Yeah.
He was sacked 6 times on
Yeah.
Saturday against Texas. That was the story of the game. Was just negative plays, putting Pavia and that offense behind. With the playmakers that defense has, and Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, they ate them alive once they got behind. Of course, the run game wasn't productive whatsoever. It's like Jack said, it really helped them offensively to have to be forced into a passing script. Of course, though, also Texas, scored on their first 6 drives. On their last 2 drives, they missed a field goal and they had a 3-and-out. So, like, they had an unbelievably productive day offensively, but
Took the foot off the gas, and it's kind of that weird thing of, like, we're up big. How do we operate our offense?
this is 10-34 entering the fourth quarter. They're up 24 points. And this is where the danger of trying to run the clock out can hurt you, which was something we discussed post Mississippi State Texas game. Texas had a really long drive where Wisner had 4 carries. Arch had picked up 2 first downs on third and 5+, and they missed a 51-yard field goal. Post the missed field goal, Eli Stowers for 68 yards. It was not 68, but 68 yards.
Rough.
Vandy goes onside kick. Texas runs the ball 3 straight times. They have 2 false starts as well, and they're forced to punt because they were in the same field goal range again, but they just missed a 51-yarder, so you don't want to kick again, and they're forced to punt. And then soft quarters coverage, they play that after the 4th and 19 conversion by Pavia, which incredible play, by the way. And Vandy just goes right down the field by just snapping the ball, throw it to the guy who's right there wide open. Snap the ball, throw it to the guy who's right there wide open. Pavia is able to create a little bit and finds a touchdown eventually. And then literally an onside kick is the difference in the game. It turns out to be that. And this is where the danger, like I said, comes in trying to run the clock out and going away from what your offense had been doing all day, which had been so productive by getting your playmakers the ball as quickly as you possibly can and letting them cook. Ryan Wingo early. He got hurt early, though. Hurts his hand early in this game. But
Is it fair to say that Texas almost lost the game in a similar way to we lost the game?
Absolutely.
Because for us, our offense is up-tempo. You're snapping the ball with like 20, 25 seconds left on the play clock. And running out the time, running the clock out is just not really an option for that kind of offense. And we tried to do it, and we went 3 and out. Multiple drives in that fourth quarter against Texas. And Texas does the same thing, goes 3 and out, ends up winning by 3. So they were able to finish the game. But it was a very similar, scary situation, which is something that's not talked about a lot, is if your offense is not an Army offense where your goal is just to run the clock and chew time, like it's hard to change everything for 10 minutes of game time.
See, the way I think of it, because I completely agree, it's hard for the offense to switch. But it's like at that point, the offense has gotten you the lead. So what really triggers me is when the defense suddenly gets really soft and just lets teams start marching back and down the field. Because realistically, you have that 2-score lead or whatever, it's going to be late. Like your defense should just be able to say, "Oh, we'll take it from here. Let's finish the job." And Texas lets Vandy march a couple times. Y'all let Texas march on y'all and give up big plays a couple times. Obviously, realistically, both need to deliver. But, like, a lot of times in those games, it's like, yeah, sure, the offense stalled and ends up running the ball a couple times. But they're really just trying to run clock. They ran some clock. I need the defense to not just get fried on a 4th and 19 or whatever it was, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that aspect of it gets talked about enough. It's always, the offense faltered.
That's fair. All this being said, I wouldn't necessarily say Arch had an amazing day. He did what he was asked to do.
Which is an improvement from early in the season.
Correct. In the first quarter, I had 144 passing yards. 148 of those were after the catch. Yeah.
Diabolical.
I don't know how that's even possible.
Is that sacks?
Meaning that he threw passes behind the line of scrimmage that went for a bunch of yards.
I mean, a 75-yard touchdown pass to start the game had probably an air yards of 2, -2.
I think it was -2 or -3.
Yeah.
He had 328 yards on the game 258 were after the catch. Technically, you had running success finally, but partially that was due because the script called for that, especially in the fourth quarter. But you barely had 100 rushing yards, and you weren't sacked the entire game.
Yeah.
Contrarian Wisner had 18 carries for 75 yards, so I wouldn't even call it that they had running game success. So it's...
Vandy also just... I mean, I talked about they missed 20 tackles. It wasn't like, man, this Texas O-line is dominating in the run. It was just like, holy crap, Vandy doesn't want to tackle.
All of this being said, I think it just... I hope we don't have massive overreactions over the coming week, 2 weeks really, because they're on a bye, then they'll play Georgia in Sanford Stadium. Between those 2 weeks, like, I hope we don't have the conversation of Texas is back by any means. They honestly, credit to them for winning a game, but this is like, we're not back to Texas being the number one team in the country kind of conversation at all.
We're not.
Sorry, I was just talking about Arch. There's your, this is it right here. This is the line of scrimmage. He completed 9 passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Well done.
So that will help your yards out. He completed 9 passes for 130 yards.
Almost 100.
No more.
Almost 150.
150 plus.
160.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150 plus.
It's 160 exactly.
But hey, he was efficient. He only had 3 incompletions.
You're definitely right. They're not back to, like, number one preseason, but this is the best version of Texas we've seen all season.
Yes.
Because even talking about Arch, throwing it behind the line of scrimmage a ton and making hay there. Early in the season, he was dirting those at the running back's feet on the swing, or the wide receiver's feet on that, or missing the easy slant that's supposed to go for extra yards.
Yeah.
Because Sark is trying to scheme up yards after the catch. And so them being successful there is a big positive. But you are definitely right. It's not like, if this was a Texas we expected to see preseason, the defense would have given up only 10 points in this game and wouldn't have given up all the crap late, and there would have been even more hay from the Texas offense.
Yeah.
But from a Texas fan perspective, it's nice to see the playmakers actually pop for once and do what they're supposed to do, and the team to actually help out Arch.
Yeah. I thought I loved... Like, I like that approach for them. Arch
it has
struggled.
to be their approach.
It's what I called for.
Yeah, and it works.
Well.
And so I'm not going to fault Arch Manning for completing passes behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not going to say that's going to get him drafted. But for a college
not the concern
offense...
for him right now.
Right. But for a college offense, when you've got a defense like Texas, they gave up 31 to Vanderbilt. I'm going to assume that was a one-off and that they can play up to their talent.
Well, they gave up 30 plus
They
to
gave
State
it 38 to us, so I don't...
Yeah, in the start...
It's not a
pool,
one-off.
I just think that, like, it's silly for Texas to be like, we know Arch has struggled, but we're just going to keep trying to do that same thing because he needs to play that way, instead of just, like, we've got 4 and 5 stars everywhere at our skill positions. So, like, let's just get them the ball and let them cook, and it's going to win us games. And that's what they should care about more than making Arch Manning look like a future NFL quarterback.
You're 100% right, except for the fact that there's going to come a time when, like when you play Ohio State, oh, shoot, those screenplays, the wide receiver's not slipping a tackle and taking it to the house. He's getting tackled at the line of scrimmage, and now it's 3rd and 10, and their only option is to rely on Arch to deliver. Their offense looked good against Vandy, but their offense is undeniably very one-dimensional right now, and if you can take away that dimension of a quick passing game turning into explosives, they're going to find themselves in games that they really struggle in. But you are right, it is their best avenue to at least look to attack that early in games and see if they can exploit it.
Yeah, or even if you just get... Because Arch has made big throws, right? He's got the highlight stuff, so if you can get him comfortable, if you can get him getting those short behind the line of scrimmage stuff early, like that is their best bet, and I kind of expect him to keep doing that going forward.
Look, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I don't think it's going to work against Georgia here in 2 weeks.
It shouldn't.
I think we're due for Kirby Smart pulling his defense domination game, which hopefully he doesn't pull it out this weekend, and saves it for the Texas game. Sure. And they dominate Texas like they did last year. And that I can also tell you that Schubert ain't going to work against Texas A&M. That's for sure. So congratulations. Your check down screen stuff allows you to beat Vanderbilt by 3 points. and Mississippi State in overtime, which if you had been told that at the beginning of the season, it would feel like a complete, utter failure.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd say all that to say it should not be all sunshine and rainbows for Longhorns and Longhorn fans, just because Arch has made some improvement by going, 9 for 12 on or 9 for 12.
9 for
12
yeah.
behind the line of scrimmage for 160 yards. Congrats, dude.
Yeah. The last thing I will say is, like, they have 2 losses at this point. So from a fan perspective, it really is just survive week to week at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And you did that this week. You survived against a top 10 opponent at home. Just move on to the next, and hopefully improvements keep coming. That's really what you got it to hope for at this point. But it is undeniably a big win, and now Vandy has to essentially win out.
Correct.
Not necessarily, we've heard a lot of talk about 9-3 could get in. I think Vandy would be very hard pressed to be one of the teams to get in at 9-3.
Yeah.
Considering it's humans voting, I think the fact it's Vandy, for one thing, over if Alabama was at 9-3, and we saw Alabama get left out at 9-3 last year, but just like the brand isn't there to help them in any capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, they host Auburn, they host Kentucky, and then they have to go to Knoxville and play Tennessee, who's somehow still ranked. Those are their 3 games remaining. Tennessee would be hoping to win that game and be 9-3 as well, and maybe make their debate by getting to beat Vanderbilt. But that is the stretch. Vanderbilt has to win in Knoxville, pretty much guaranteed, to then be in the debate to make it to the playoff. Which then I don't think it's guaranteed, but 2 losses being at Alabama and at Texas coming into the year, I think you would have said that Vanderbilt team probably makes the playoff.
Yeah.
Because of that, considering their resume at that point. And also, as the Seahawks continue to extend their lead,
Holy Schubert, man.
which is why this team has been on top of the pyramid for a long time. I'm very excited that people now get to see this on national television instead of in the 325 window. But, yeah, Vanderbilt, I think if beating Tennessee will help them a ton in terms of that debate for that last thing. If your last win was a good win against the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville, I think that might help them in their debate there.
Agreed.
But that will close us out for Vanderbilt, Texas, and we can go to Knoxville for the other game.
Kind of a wild game here, as Oklahoma travels to Knoxville to face Tennessee in the night slot, and they end up pulling out a 33-27 win that I think they feel very fortunate to have got with the way the game breaks and the fact that Tennessee outgains you a ton in the first half, but turnovers keep you in the game. R. Mason Thomas, one of the best plays of the season, goes beast mode. There's some Greg Jennings in there as he gets hurt trying to finish the run, but he has a big strip sack, scoop and score to give you a touchdown.
I mean, he stiff-armed that guy for 15 yards.
It was wild.
Insane.
It was ridiculous. And then in the second half, you start getting your run game going a little bit, which has been non-existent all season, and tells you just a ton about the quality of Tennessee's defense.
Yeah.
And so you come up with the win. First thing I have in my notes, and what is OU's kicker?
Oh, my word, yeah.
Big game, goes 4 for 4. His multiple 50-plus yarders, but he's got the short shorts, and I think he's a bit of a whack job. He's quite the character in college football.
Sanders, I promised I was going to ask you this. What is the Oklahoma kicker's name?
Santel? Something Santel?
So close.
What is it?
Tate Sandell.
Oh! I'm giving myself that one.
That's a really tough one. It is also not Justin Robleski.
It is not Justin Robleski.
Reliever for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But yeah, Sandell had his what did Herbstreit say? Daisy Dukes on.
Yeah.
Goes 4 for 4. Aura Farms on a 51-yarder, which congrats, you made a 51-yarder. He made it by 10 inches.
I equated it to when you skim the backside of the ball and angle ball. But
yes,
it counts, but that's how close you are.
That is very fair. And a 51-yarder is like an extra point these days. So I don't know what the aura farming is there. But, hey, big kick for him. really short shorts. Tennessee, bro, how can you lose this game? Venables at Oklahoma after trailing in the first quarter was 1-8. Isaiah Satanga doesn't have his first touch or target until 3 minutes left in the first half. Aguilar has 3 first half turnovers, and yet Oklahoma only led by 6 somehow. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Sure.
It's just, how do you lose it? No matter what way you split it, no matter what portion of this game you pick and you say, okay, let's go to the box score right now, you would not understand, if you just looked at yardage at least, why one team is ahead of the other when they have less yards at pretty much the entire portion of this game. It's a kind of indescribable loss for Tennessee fans. We have another, probably there's 2 or 3 moments, but there is one moment where like you have another viral Tennessee fan for their reaction to how the game is going. The other one was against Georgia when you had the Tennessee fan that was just sitting there like this
with the
hair, which was goofy. But Aguilar's 3 turnovers are terrible. You have the strip sack, which how can you not? For one, you got to protect the ball, but like also he's right in front of you.
Yeah.
You need to be able to see that and protect the ball. And then both the picks are terrible. They're straight up terrible. These are the reads you cannot make as a quarterback. You cannot make those reads.
They're such bad reads. It almost feels like he knows that they're there and he just doesn't care. He's like, screw it, I'm throwing this anyway. That's how it feels.
The second one definitely felt that way. The first one, the first pick, which was they were basically in the red zone at that point. He tries to throw the post route.
Yeah.
He, like Herbstreit said on the broadcast, doesn't even like attempt to look off the safety. And I guess he just assumes the safety is just going to I'm going to go cover this curl route over here instead of doing my job and covering the middle part of the field. And then he doesn't try to throw it on a laser even still, and he throws a little moon ball, and it's picked off easily. Tennessee, 9 of their 12 drives were in Oklahoma territory. Of those 9 drives, they scored on just 5 of them.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And
just 5 of them.
Another one of the issues they ran into was so they were just giving away free points. They had to scoop and score for a touchdown. And then Oklahoma also had 2 turnovers, but none of them put Tennessee in plus territory. Tennessee gives the ball to Oklahoma on one of their turnovers on the 28, I believe.
Yes.
Which is you're in field goal range and you are one big play away from a touchdown. Which I mean, you're always one big play. Like that's you are in field goal range and you are almost in the end zone. That's just really that you can't win a game like that when the field position battle is going that hard against you. It's just hard to overcome that if you're going to give the other team a team, by the way, that like John Mateer has not looked the same since hand surgery. And you're just going to kind
Didn't
of
look the same in the first half.
right,
Still.
and you're just going to be like, oh, we're going to do our best to give you every opportunity to figure it out and succeed. That's just really, really bad. You should not be giving a guy who looked like the Heisman front runner for 5 weeks. You should not be giving him opportunities to figure it out and get it together.
Yeah, his footwork was really terrible. Mateer, that is, Herbstreit really highlighted that throughout the first half, and then he kind of got under control of that in the second half. Go ahead.
I was saying the first half jump pass he tried to pull out was diabolical.
That was goofy. That was one Herbstreit really highlighted. I said pick a moment, and you still don't understand it. For me, the one moment I picked was Tennessee on their second drive of the game. They're in complete control of the game. They're driving again. The Vols at that point had outgained OU 120-14. They had just got a roughing the passer call and got an automatic first down. And then on an RPO, the right tackle is destroyed. Strip sack, R. Mason Thomas goes all the way. The game flips on its head, and it's 7-7 with Tennessee outgaining OU at that point, 106+ yards. And it continued throughout the rest of the game. It's indescribable. Credit to OU. You win a game on the road, and we like to say, which is not our phrase, shout out Chris Berman, a win is a win is a win. They threw out the kitchen sink. Mateer carries it 16 times for 80 yards. doesn't care about taking hits, puts his body on the line, picks up big gains. In the second half, he finally got going with passing. I think one of the best throws of the entire day to Satanga down the sideline in a critical moment. And yet, still, Tennessee got their opportunities at the end of that game, and they couldn't capitalize. They got their opportunities there at the end and could not convert after Mateer throws that bad pick. They don't recover the onside kick either, and the Vols are 6-3, and now you're looking at it how you thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season, which prior to this game, I would like to remind y'all, it felt like coming into this game, no excuses, you should make the playoff. You should be 4-0. Yeah. You host OU, you host Vanderbilt to end the year, and then I believe you play, it was Auburn or something.
It is New Mexico State and at Florida.
At Florida, so you can pull off a win in the Swamp finally, considering how that was going, which now I don't expect that anymore. But 10-2 was sitting right there on a year that you felt like would have been punted, and Josh Heupel and everything is positive. And funny enough, the transfer quarterback that had been saving you all year chokes the game for you. You're 6-3. You're still ranked somehow when your best win is over a 5-4 Mississippi State team in overtime.
Yeah. And the John Mateer thing, the John Mateer thing, taking injuries. I was explaining to someone yesterday or the day before about like baseball postseason, about how pitchers will just throw back-to-back days or they'll go into absurdly high pitch counts. Oklahoma right now, this is a playoff game for them, and so you can't lose this game. It doesn't like. You'll worry about the next game tomorrow. In the same way, baseball, like we'll figure out who we're going to start tomorrow, like after this game's over. That's how John Mateer was playing, and that's kind of how he's going to play every game the rest of the way. Is like I'll figure out a sprained ankle or a sprained wrist tomorrow. We have to win, and I'm our best chance of doing that. So, and shout out to him for putting the team on his back and getting that win. But yeah, I think the interesting thing for Tennessee is it's an exercise, kind of like state fans are going through and have been going through, is you come into the season with certain expectations, and then everything goes right, and those expectations get blown through the roof, and then everything falls back to the floor, and then you're mad because the team's not going to meet those new expectations.
Yeah,
but they're going to exceed your preseason expectations. For state, our win total I believe was 3.5. And we met that in 4 weeks, which I would love to go back and check this. We were probably the first team to cover our win total.
I'm pretty sure that's right. I would hope so.
Because in order to do that, you would have to find another team with a win total of 3.5 or less who also went undefeated to start the season. So we start out undefeated, feel like the sky is the limit, everything's clicking, we have a top 12 win, and then things kind of, not fall apart, but things start to kind of come undone. You lose some close games. Tennessee comes into the season, you lose Nico Iamaleava, your 5-star, your super talented future NFL draft pick to the portal because he wants more money, and you bring in this guy no one has heard of from App State, Joey Aguilar, and he plays really well, and the offense looks crazy and great, and you kind of assume that the defense is going to be really good because it's been good the past couple of years. And now that's not the reality. And so now Tennessee fans have to balance like expectations in the preseason versus expectations on Friday, and kind of come to peace with the fact that you're having a good season, but it's not the same season you thought it was going to be after some of your wins.
Still, though, I understand that, but I completely understand being upset as a Tennessee fan because
I'm upset as a State fan because we lost a bunch of one-possession games.
Agreed. It's the exact same feeling. You look at how the losses occurred, missing a game-winning field goal against Georgia, the pick 6 at the end of the first half against Alabama, and then Aguilar's 3 turnovers that directly lead to 13 points for OU. I still think, like you're saying, you have every right to feel disgusted and really upset with how everything had occurred. Now, OU, though, on their side, gets to regroup. They have the bye week, and then a critical game at Alabama, which will either be a afternoon kickoff or a night game. depending on the SEC's discretion. I'm sure it'll be a night game because they don't like giving Georgia night games.
Yeah.
Because Georgia Texas is that weekend as well. That's the other debate. But OU plays that game, and then they'll play Missouri and LSU at home. So it's one more playoff game. And then, honestly, given the context of LSU and Missouri's seasons, you would like to think you could beat both of those Tiger teams at home.
Yeah.
10-2, and you're in the playoff. And all of a sudden, what was, again, a question I posed coming into this weekend was Venables could either be on the hot seat very quickly with how he's performed in the SEC, or he could turn his season around. That was another thing Herbstreit had talked about last night, but that is the conversation going forward will be November 15th against the Crimson Tide.
Sure.
Just an hour and a half east of here in Starkville, which I might go to that game. I'm thinking about it.
Oklahoma, Alabama.
For what?
Did you say Oklahoma?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That'd be
fire.
pretty sick.
That'd be
I thought
awesome.
you were asking if I was going to cheer for Alabama.
No. I said Oklahoma, Alabama.
Yeah,
but
he's not like someone
No,
on the show.
I'll be cheering for Oklahoma
Yeah.
directly.
Let's get on to our last game of the day,
Last game.
which disappointed me greatly.
Yep.
Cincinnati, led by Brendan Sorsby, had won 7 straight, but unfortunately they got a sledgehammer taken to them last night by Utah as Utah wins 45-14. As soon as Utah got down early, there's a crucial moment that felt like the game to me as Cincinnati's driving down 7, and then Sorsby fumbles, and Utah goes down and kicks a field goal to make it a 2-possession game. And at that point, Cincinnati having to play catch-up at Utah with how good Utah had already looked running the football. Just felt like it was going to be a disaster. And it was, simply put. Sorsby played downright awful.
Yeah.
11 for 33 passing for a guy that had gotten a lot of buzz recently as a draft pick, being like, oh, why are we not talking about this guy enough? Look at the arm talent. Look at the arm
A
talent.
20-1 touchdown.
Yeah.
To INT.
And had been playing great. Simply put, did not. I mean, 11 for 33 cannot happen. He's missing throws. The amount of times, and they even mentioned on the broadcast because it's so bad, he would try and take a shot down the sidelines, and he would just sail it out of bounds.
Yeah.
Very high. Just didn't look very comfortable. And I think it's chalked with the fact that Utah gets out to that early lead, and they can't do their game plan of being successful in the run and then build off that in the pass. And so I mentioned Utah gets up 10 and that felt like the game. But part of me was excited because, like, ooh, now we get to see what Sorsby can do in this type of situation. And he just did not deliver. And so I was very disappointed by that. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Yeah. Disappointed is completely fair to feel if you're Cincy. Like you said, the padlock stat, which, again, if you were just told just this, Brennan Sorsby is going to be 11 for 33. You don't even have to tell me yards, touchdowns, interceptions, anything. Okay, Utah probably won in a blowout. I think that's pretty clear. 11 for 33. That is the opposite of efficient. But for all the things that I talked about coming into this game, the biggest one was 2 things. Trend. Brendan Sorsby has thrown 2 or more touchdowns in every game that they had won. He throws 1 touchdown on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the other one was that they had only been in one game this year where they really had to fight outside the Nebraska game, and that was the Kansas game. They had only trailed for 6 minutes and 48 seconds. This entire season since the Nebraska game, on Saturday they trailed for 49 minutes and 12 seconds. Like I said, Sorsby only threw 1 touchdown, and we trumped that trend. They had kept Brendan Sorsby clean all season. He was not sacked on Saturday, which that would be your bad luck stat, if anything, considering how the season had went. But Utah, I got to give them a ton of credit. They reverse their ranked matchup trope, which was the Texas Tech and the BYU game. They had not been great in this year, and they dominated Cincinnati. They ran the ball so effectively. Wayshawn Parker has 104 yards. Dan Pierre was great. They threw when they needed to. But what an environment. Blackout was really cool. Apparently, yesterday was they the day of blackouts.
Yeah.
Utah having one, Houston having one.
There's one better than others. Because didn't Tennessee also have a blackout?
Tennessee had a blackout. Yeah.
So blackouts were at least 1 and 3 yesterday.
Where was the fourth blackout?
Houston. So 1 out of 3.
Yeah,
So
1 out of
1 and
3,
2.
yes.
1 and 2.
I'm sure there might have been another one too. North Texas was not one, but Utah dominated. This was just the second time this season that Cincinnati had thrown more than ran, which you could potentially say is a padlock stat as well. The only other time was the Kansas game.
Yeah.
Which was the game they were in a fight in. It was a shootout. I would say, though, what a way to start a game for Utah. Having College game day, you get up for College game day, and it is 6 a.m. Their local time, if I'm not mistaken, or they might be 7 a.m. with Mountain Time. You have to wait the entire day until 7:15 local, 12 hours from the start of College game day. All the fans there, the environment is crazy, and then the team shows up for you. First Cincinnati drive is a 3-and-out, and then Utah gets the ball. They go 16 plays, 94 yards, drain 7 minutes, score a touchdown. They have 2 fourth-down conversions, one of which barely by the nose of the football on a 4th-and-1 QB sneak, and then a 3rd-and-10 as well from Devon Dampier. It was just what a way to start the game. As soon as you see that, you have to have concerns for Cincinnati, but to their credit, they drove right back down the field and scored. But it was all Utah from there on, which is, for us, our fan base, for our team, that's a positive.
Yeah.
That makes our win look that much better.
Agreed.
Our being the BYU Cougars. And that also, I think, shows us that maybe we have a fighting chance in that Cincinnati game here in the coming weeks.
Agreed.
We're going to have to get some BYU paraphernalia.
We need some for Thursday's show.
I agree.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it by Thursday, given today is Sunday. Maybe shipping's that fast.
Express shipping on Amazon. I'll see what I can do.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. It's tough. It's actually, I don't know. It's such a weird feel to look and see the score be 45-14, and then you look at the box score and stuff like that, and you're like, how did Cincinnati even only score 14? And then it's like, okay, well, you just didn't finish drives. You missed a field goal. You turned the ball over. Because it wasn't even a thing of, like, they couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball for 206 yards for 6.9 yards per carry. Like, that's fantastic. But you just get behind, and so you couldn't lean on that like you wanted to. And you just feel very disappointed with how it went. But Utah played fantastic. Wayshawn Parker had a huge day. Even thinking about, like, his first touchdown run was fantastic. He just popped all day long. I mean, he had the pink gloves on and the pink cleats on, and that fit him perfectly for being a player that's just flashy. And just very well done by Utah. I completely agree. They kind of got back to their style in big games and made it happen. And Devon Dampier wasn't fantastic throwing the football, but he did enough and hit a couple deep balls to keep Cincinnati honest in that facet.
Yeah,
just a great win.
It didn't look in their other top 25 matchups. I feel like we've walked away, and Devon Dampier has been like, it's, gritted teeth. Like, I don't know about that. You realize why he's really a dual threat quarterback who relies on his legs a lot. But no, I mean, he did what he needed to do in this game to get the job done.
I can get a BYU shirt here by Wednesday.
All right. May have to look into
that. We
that.
all want a BYU shirt, or do we just want one BYU shirt for the pod? $20.
I'll get one for $20.
Sanders?
Are we getting matching BYU shirts?
It's we can all get the same shirt if you want.
Is it the BYU blue? Because I don't know.
It's the navy.
The navy. Sorry, they're.
Would you? Well, they have the blue, the bright blue that they wear.
Are we done reviewing this game, or is it?
I think so. We're on.
Yeah,
we're on
to
to
bigger
our,
and better things.
On to bigger and better things.
Our second love.
Brigham Young Cougars.
There is not one in that other blue color.
That's all right. Let's just you pick one, and we can all three wear matching shirts. That'll be funny for the bit. As BYU fans, we're a BYU pod.
That a fine color?
Looks good to me.
I'll rock that.
Can I wear that to? Are you?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I'm sure you could, right? Surely, right?
Yeah, free country.
It'll put their lingo to the test, or whatever they say of, like, at the being, like, it's a place for everyone.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, while JP orders that, would you like to introduce?
Oh, no way. That ordering 3 puts it on Saturday. What are we doing here?
Brutal.
How does that make any sense?
Just
What
get
if you
yourself-
order 3 individual shirts?
Just get yourself
That's actually-
one
that's
then,
good
or
comms.
try that.
If you want to have it shipped here to maximize, like they might deliver it at 5:50 right before we go live at 6 or something.
Ooh, I have the wrong address, and this could change everything.
I could make it worse. The delivery times here are not
Exactly.
great. It makes me nervous.
Oh, we can still get it on Wednesday.
okay.
It's
Bet,
huge,
bet,
huge.
Bet. What happens if you change it to 3? Does it?
Surely. 2 is still Wednesday. 3 is still Wednesday. Well, why did it just lie to me for no reason?
Scam. Should we get to the stock market?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the stock market
Bet.
while I get our shirts.
He's locked in trying to find it. Did you not write him down?
No, I'm going to
Okay.
the page in the
Okay, bet.
sheets. First one, boys. Mario Cristobal.
You don't want to intro it, so when I clip it,
Fine.
appreciate it. It just makes it easier if it's not just
Welcome to the Technical Fowl Stock Market. We will now buy or sell specific and random college football stocks, questions, opinions given to us. Some made up by me, some friends, some fans. It's a mix. It's a hodgepodge. It's a ton of fun. And now I'll hit y'all with the first one, which is buy or sell. Mario Cristobal will never reach the heights Miami fans hold as the standard at the U, meaning competing for national championships, because that is what they expect there at Miami. They have not made the playoffs under Mario Cristobal. They're in severe danger of missing it again. They could win out, and there's a chance they don't get in. They did not get in at 10-2 last year. But buy or sell. I can lead this off if I need to.
I will buy that they will not reach those heights. I feel like Mario Cristobal has consistently botched games, and just unlike Jeff Lebby, who has also botched games, I feel like he's got more experience and shouldn't be doing those things. Jeff Lebby is a year 2 head coach, year 1 in competitive games. Mario Cristobal should be better than that. So yeah, I will buy that he will not ever be competing for natties. He might sneak into the playoffs. He might have a weak ACC schedule and get to 10-2, maybe 11-1. But I don't think he'll be competing for championships.
I agree.
I also agree. I'm buying.
It's a pretty easy buy. I just wanted to talk about it. He's not done it yet, and it's not like he's not had the talent there to do so, and I think he's a terrible in-game coach. So, yeah, I mean, simply that.
Our shirts should arrive on Wednesday.
Huge.
Bet. Next one.
Buy or sell 2 ACC teams make the playoffs. Right now,
So,
your most
ACC
likely
champion.
ones are you're going to get an ACC champion in, so
Yeah.
you're going to get one. Your most likely teams to just make it in general right now is a Georgia Tech with 1 loss. UVA has 1 loss.
Pitt, 1 conference loss.
Pitt, 1
2
conference
losses.
loss.
Louisville, 1 loss.
Louisville has 1 loss.
I think your best bet is either UVA or Georgia Tech. Like those 2 teams. Or one of those teams gets to the conference championship and a team like SMU or Pittsburgh also gets there and then beats them. And so you get, like last year with Clemson and SMU, you get the underdog, not the underdog, the team that wouldn't make it as an at-large who wins it. But let me look. So Georgia Tech on their schedule still has Boston College, Pittsburgh, Georgia. That Georgia game, likely a loss.
Yeah.
A good loss. So now you got 3 losses.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, 2 losses because they only have the 1 loss currently. Your 2 losses, that could still be an at-large bid. UVA on their schedule has Wake Forest at Duke and Virginia Tech. I think they probably finish undefeated.
At Duke scares me a ton as a Hoosier fan.
That's
as
fair.
a Cavalier fan.
What do you think, JP?
Wahoo-wah.
So if you just pick through the ACC, essentially every team that would be favored, I would guess, in every game going forward, you would have Virginia and Louisville in the ACC championship, an undefeated in-conference play with Virginia, and a 1-loss Louisville, both 11-1. And so one of those teams is guaranteed to make the playoff from the ACC. And so maybe you could make the argument that 11-2 of either of those teams could make it as well. The one swing game on that is Georgia Tech at Georgia. If they win that game and they've won out, they're in regardless of whether or not they were in the ACC championship. And so I think that's the question of the debate. Is an 11-2 ACC runner-up good enough to make it, i.e. Virginia or Louisville, or do you think Georgia Tech's going to beat Georgia?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy because I think Georgia Tech's going to beat Georgia.
Wow.
And I also think that there is a fighting chance, at least for an 11-2 Louisville or Virginia.
Sure.
With their wins that they have. I think they have a fighting chance, either of them. So I'm going to buy the 2 ACC teams make the playoff, just like they did last year. Because they already, precedent also helps there as well.
Sure.
With SMU, their one loss being to the BYU Cougars last year before losing to Clemson.
Yeah.
I think there's some precedent there as well, that a Virginia loss to NC State or Louisville's loss is good enough for them to make the playoff.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question because I think it's very close. This is one of the better buy and sells in terms of I think there's legitimate reason for either course. But I'm also going to buy because mainly the precedent, and I just think the way every other conference is going to shake out, it's going to be hard for them not to come up with the numbers for 12 teams without a second ACC team finding its way in.
I think you also have the argument, if Virginia and Louisville play, Virginia's win has a win over Louisville. That's Louisville's one loss. If Louisville avenges that win, they've split the season series.
Yeah.
And so
how do you put one in and not the other?
Is that enough for that to be for Virginia to also be in if Louisville were to win that game? So you may even be looking at 3 teams at that point, because then how can you leave Georgia Tech out? Which means you probably have Georgia out of the playoff, which is also crazy.
It is nuts.
But they're going to lose on Saturday, so it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
Spoiler
I will also
alert.
buy. I think that there's enough teams that could compete and finish the season with 1 or 2 losses. They will end up putting in a 1, maybe 2 loss ACC conference runner-up. So I will buy as well.
Cool. Third question. Someone who I believe is in the chat currently, Andrew McBride. Buy or sell, Sayan or Mendoza wins the Heisman. So it basically is, if you buy, you're taking Sayan or Mendoza, and if you sell, you're taking the field. Call me, I don't know. Homer, sure. Copium, sure. I still like Ty Simpson's chances a lot to win the Heisman down the stretch here. Sayan did have a great game on Saturday. That scares me a little bit. I feel like he's gaining a lot of steam in terms of Heisman hype. But I think I like Ty Simpson's chances enough, and then I also get the rest of the field. So I will sell.
Yeah, I feel like the rest of the field beyond that is Marcel Reed.
Dog.
Because from there, the drop-off to Gunnar Stockton and beyond is pretty drastic. You've got Marcel Reed in 4th at plus 650. Then you drop down to Jeremiah Smith, or Gunnar Stockton at plus 2,500 and Jeremiah Smith at plus 4,000.
Still a lot of time for people to make moves.
Yeah, I just feel like it's either Julian Sayan and Fernando Mendoza, or you're taking Ty Simpson or Marcel Reed. There definitely could be some movement, but with those games and those teams still having Ohio State and Indiana likely to play in a conference championship, and then A&M is currently in 1st in the SEC. Is Alabama 2nd? Are they the 2 front runners, or 1st and 2nd right now?
Yeah.
So-
Ole Miss
They're both
also is like
undefeated in conference play.
right there with the one
Yes.
loss, but
Yep.
yeah.
So I think it's probably going to come down to one of those 4 guys, just because they have so much left to play, whereas Georgia, maybe they can get back into the SEC championship, but that loss to Alabama hurts them. Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame, not going to have a conference championship, not going to have that platform. Pavia at Vanderbilt won't have that platform. So, yeah. And then I don't know why you'd pick Jeremiah Smith when Ty Simpson, Julian Sayan is right there. But I will buy. just because I can get the top 2 guys in the favorites, the odds, I will take that.
I'm going to buy because I think Fernando Mendoza is going to win the Heisman. I agree with Tucker as well. Even if I think Simpson's playing them better than the two of them, which I actually don't. I think Mendoza's playing the best out of all of them. But I just don't picture Julian Sand win the Heisman. That doesn't pass the confetti test, which in this would be the can you see this person giving their Heisman Trophy speech test. And I can't see Julian Sand giving that speech up there because I've seen him in interviews. And he's clearly not the vocal leader of that team, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mendoza, I think I can see that. So I'm going to buy though because I think Mendoza's going to win it. And I obviously could probably see it from Gunnar Stockton or Ty Simpson as well.
Sure.
I just don't think Sand passes the confetti test / giving the Heisman Trophy winning speech while having tears roll down your cheeks test, which we need to trademark that test.
I thought you got it from somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's why we trademarked the Heisman Trophy speech, tears rolling down your cheeks.
Oh, Landon wants you to revisit your prediction on the Panthers real quick.
Yeah.
So would you love to do that?
Yeah,
live?
absolutely. So I predicted the Panthers to be on 0-17 watch, to go 2-15, specifically because even NFL teams will win games at times. Look, personally, as a Saints fan, obviously I understand there being homerism and a lot of hope for your team. I at one point thought the Saints could win the division. I flipped that right before the season started because I watched Rattler and Shuck play in the preseason, and I had a reality check on that. For Carolina, even if you're a fan, I don't think, as good as this win today probably felt, you can realistically look at your team and say, oh, we're a 5-4 football team. We're going to fight for a wild card spot. We're going to win a playoff game. We can win the NFC South. I don't think you should feel that way and can feel that way. Carolina has had one game where they've had a passer go for 200 yards or more, and that was against the Arizona Cardinals. The Panthers, I still do feel that way, that they have one of the worst rosters in the league. They have one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, straight up. Bryce Young fought just to get to 100 yards today, and he barely did. He barely did in the fourth quarter. He has not been great at all this year. Call me crazy, but I'm not alone in this. I didn't predict Rico Dowdle to become a dog the way he has.
Yeah, according to the Panthers fan, Chuba Hubbard is a top 10 running back, and he's not the starter.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard was benched for Rico Dowdle, essentially. I knew that they had good offensive line play in the run game, but I didn't think they were going to be in a lot of running game scripts, and they kind of have been for the most part. But also, let's just go back one damn week. You lost by 31 in a blowout to Buffalo. When you're in a critical spot where you can make a statement against one of the best teams in the NFL. To your credit, you came back and you responded and you flipped that this week with a win over the Packers. But I also don't think you can watch that game and tell me that you guys went out there and outright won that game wire to wire. Jordan Love just threw y'all the football in two critical moments for no reason. Why does a passer need to go for 200 more yards? Well, look, the Saints, I think they've had 2 games with the 200-yard passer, and they are 1-7. It matters because it's how you drive down the field. It's how the best offenses in the NFL have been driving down the field and are scoring points. Mahomes, Stafford, Jared Goff and the Lions, even Jordan Love in his big games. You need to have a reality check with yourself with how today went. We escaped. We got a big win in Lambeau. Let's go. We should celebrate that. But you barely had a quarterback throw for 100 passing yards. Bryce Young hasn't looked great all season. Jordan Love threw you the ball directly in critical moments for no reason.
Shout out Jordan Love.
And you barely escaped hitting a game-winning field goal. I don't think you can tell me that was clean. Is it different than being 0-17? Hell yeah. And credit to you there. But I'd also be, I'd press you to go look at some of my other predictions, as in picking the Patriots to make the playoffs, picking the Packers to be pretty damn solid, which up until this week where they lost to y'all, that's been a pretty valid prediction. I'd also press you to go watch the rest of the show. I've had plenty of great predictions that have gone well for me, i.e. some great seer predictions, picking the Bengals to beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football when no one saw that occurring, telling you directly to take Jets money line last week. That worked out well. And even this week with the Titans pick, eat my crow and take your L. Okay, I will. That being said,
Patriots will not go 2-15, or the Patriots, idiot.
Panthers.
The Panthers will not go 2-15. The Panthers will not be making noise in the playoffs or doing anything significant this season.
You still have just a glaring hole at quarterback, which you can't even necessarily address that in the draft either because he is the number 1 overall pick. So.
Yeah. Maybe he gets better, but I doubt it.
I can't. My plan is we've got a lot of people responding to random tweets, old tweets, new tweets.
Shout out Panthers enthusiasts.
And so I got to go figure out. I mean, I guess we started responding to them with, I don't know, asking them. Well, first of all, I think it's funny that they're all coming for JP and saying that we're all like. I predicted the Panthers to go 9-8, I think. So. I would ask y'all to watch more than a minute and a half of the show before you criticize it and call us all idiots because we say a lot more than what you saw in that minute and a half clip.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anyone's called us an idiot. They are just saying JP's wrong, which he was wrong. But
people have been wrong before.
They can let Bob Score watching in 2025. Brother, turn on the frickin' tape. Bryce Young is not good. He's just simply not. The last thing I want to say, and we got to get back on track. He's talking about, so Josh Allen beats them and doesn't throw for 200 yards. Josh Allen threw for 160 and beat us 40-9. Game to game, like, yes, you can have a game where the quarterback does not have to deliver, does not have to beat you passing. But to do that week to week to week to week, there's going to have to be a game when inevitably the quarterback has to go and make throws to win you the game. And Bryce Young simply has not done that this season, and that's what we're talking about.
I would love to know another quarterback that's done that. And done it, year in, year out, and kept their job.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any.
No one. But undeniably, compared to the past couple of seasons for the Panthers, it's a good season. And so enjoy the success right now.
5-4. They get the ball back and win. I mean, credit to him. He got to 100 passing yards and led them down the field, and they kicked a 49-yard field goal. He made a couple decent throws on that drive, but I don't think a couple decent throws into the game help him the rest of the way. And they also, Bryce Young didn't force Jordan Love to throw those picks. Only Jordan Love did. Congrats. You're 5-4. Like, cool. Like Jack said, you're not going to make any noise.
I think it's worse off for them. I don't think Bryce Young is their future. Bryce Young is not their future, and now they're not going to have a pick to go get a good quarterback.
I agree with Sanders.
I
still don't like the roster. And go look at your wins, too. Go look at your damn wins. The Packers win is great. The Packers win is great.
It's the one good win.
It's the one good win.
By volume, beating anyone 30-0 is impressive in the NFL.
It's the one win over a team with a winning record. I was 13-6 over the New York Jets. I'd celebrate that, I guess. A 3-point win against the Dolphins. Celebrate it, I guess. You're escaping outside of the Falcons game, which, if you don't know, go watch my Falcons stuff as well. Falcons, I hate on them more than I hate on y'all.
I think that's the one thing you and Landon will be unified on, probably, is enjoying Falcons falconing.
Yes, absolutely.
As a Saints fan and a Panthers fan.
Landon, all that being said, we appreciate you joining the live chat and commenting with us. We hope you continue to, as the Panthers, in your eyes at least, continue to win games and hoist the Lombardi Trophy.
Objectively, they are winning games.
In February.
Shall we get back to the stock market?
Yeah, let's do that.
Did we all sell? I don't even remember where we were.
We were talking about Mendoza and the Heisman. Sanders and I bought, and you sold, right? Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now
we
we
did.
hear on Clemson and the Tigers.
Clemson makes a bowl game. They're what, 4-5 right now?
I believe that's.
We just said it was a good win, Landon. Like beating anyone in the NFL 30-0 is a good win. So
The Clemson Tigers.
Yes.
Who do they play this weekend?
Duke. They lost to Duke by 1 point.
Yes, thank you. I got distracted by our 3-5. Clemson's 3-5.
3-5.
They need 3 more wins. On the schedule remaining, they have Florida State, at Louisville, Furman, and then at South Carolina. So they need 3 wins in the next 4 games, 3 out of the next 4.
Very, very doable.
Would you guys like to guess the spread on Clemson Florida State?
Is it?
It's in Death Valley
it's
night
in Death
game.
Valley. It's definitely Clemson is favored. Clemson has to be favored. I'm not good at guessing spreads, but I know this much.
Clemson 3.5.
I'll say Clemson 5.5.
It's 2.5.
Oh my word.
2.5. What did you say? I almost said 2.5. I
said
should have stuck with.
4.5. I said 4.5.
Which,
I win.
if you had said that right before kickoff, week 1 of the Saturday night game between Clemson and LSU, I think you would say, "Oh wow, this is a potential ACC championship preview before the ACC championship." Considering how Florida State and Clemson's season has gone,
Sure.
I'm gonna sell. I think they're gonna be 5-7. Do buyers get credit if they make the bowl game due to an academic? What do they call it?
That'd be the most Dabo 20 way to make a bowl game.
And then you can like victory lap it.
Well, no, just like, oh yeah, like my kids go to class and they like that's the most Dabo 20 thing ever.
We just got
Yes.
good kids here.
It works.
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
count if they make the bowl game at 5-7. What's South Carolina's record right now?
South Carolina is not good. It's 3-6.
Okay, so very unlikely. Yeah, just almost impossible. I just would love if they were both 5-6, playing for a bowl spot.
That would be electric. It's not impossible. South Carolina on their schedule remaining has at Texas A&M and Coastal Carolina. So they'd have to get some sort of crazy Lenore Sellers game. Would you be willing to sacrifice a loss for that, Jack? For
No.
the greater good?
I would not.
Dang. You just hate fun, I guess.
I do hate fun. If you could guarantee me a national title, I would take that loss.
I'll do that.
Okay, deal.
Cool. There's your natty. Enjoy.
Sick. I'm going to sell as well
yeah, I'll
because
sell.
this team just does not. It's pretty dysfunctional right now, and so there's a chance. It's not like they have monsters on the schedule week in and week out down the road, but the fact that they haven't beat numerous teams they've already played that aren't very good.
They've lost 4 times in Death Valley.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the sell here.
That's insane.
Yep. Criminal. The fake Death Valley, not the real Death Valley.
I wouldn't even know if you say that much.
Both Death Valleys are dead currently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both Death Valleys at one point were Death Valley.
They have been taken over.
Yes.
Last one. Texas makes the SEC championship. They have 2 conference losses No, they have 1 conference loss. I apologize. They have
Yep.
1 conference loss right now. Currently, there are 2 teams that have 0 conference losses.
And 2 more with 1 loss.
And 2 more with 1 loss. Likely, they would have to win out to make the conference championship.
I think that's all but guaranteed.
All but guaranteed, yes. And I don't think they're going to do so. I personally think they're probably going to lose to Georgia when they play Georgia.
That isn't the only thing they need to as well. They need
Yeah.
to win out, and they need Old Piss to lose 1 game.
Sure. Well, if they won out, or Alabama to lose the game, right? How would that
If
work?
Alabama,
Because if they win out, they're beating A&M, and then they have the head-to-head over A&M.
If
Yeah.
Alabama, let's say, lost the Iron Bowl, and if Alabama lost the Iron Bowl, and the School Up North won out, they still would not be in. It would be A&M and T-Sun.
Gotcha.
Old Piss. So they need Old Piss to
How
lose.
would A&M get in over Texas?
Because they'd have the head-to-head. Does that not
No,
matter?
because it goes to a 4-team 7-1 tiebreaker.
So the
okay,
head-to-head
okay.
doesn't matter
and the
anymore.
head-to-head doesn't matter. In
That's
fact,
pretty
I'm pretty
cool.
sure I don't know what it becomes. I think it might become like strength of victory or something.
Okay.
So they, regardless, they need. If the School Up North loses a game and they win out, then they're in. If Alabama lost the Iron Bowl, or if Alabama lost to OU, let me double check that as well. If Alabama loses to OU or to Auburn, and then OU loses again to Missouri or LSU, and the School of North loses out, and then Texas beats Texas A&M, both teams make it.
Texas and Texas A&M.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That would be electric.
So they would play back-to-back weeks.
That happened. Where did that happen in the last 5 years?
That was something that we
Talked about the Army Navy.
As potentially with Army Navy, and then it was a potential thing to happen last year with A&M and Texas.
Did
So
it
that they
happen
would've-
to a
were gonna
Big
play.
12 or Pac-12 school recently? I'm feeling like TCU, Kansas State
I don't
know.
recall off the top
with
of my head,
what was his name?
We're getting
Max
sidetracked.
Duggan.
but
I think that's just a repeat. I don't think it was
Texas
back-to-back.
to make it, they need to win out, and the School of North has to lose one of their last two.
And I'm selling because horns down. First of all,
Fair.
Gig 'em always. But I don't see you beating Georgia, and I don't really see you beating A&M. But okay, I say don't see you. There's a chance, but I especially don't see Texas beating both of those teams. Like that seems very unlikely to me. So I'm going to sell this pretty confidently.
I will sell. I don't think they're going to make it.
I'm going to sell. I think they're going to make it, though.
Wow.
No, I don't think they're going to make it. I think I would not be shocked if they made it, which would be what everyone will say because hindsight is 20/20. But I'm saying it right now. So it's not hindsight. I will not be shocked if they make it. Which you can't judge me on that because that's just opinion. So
Sure.
I think they could go out there and win the Georgia game. I think they could beat A&M somehow.
Yeah.
And I fully expect the School of North to lose one of the last two SEC games, which
Sure.
they only have two remaining, to either Florida at home or to us here in Starkville.
As we wrap up the show, we have another Panthers fan that has invaded the
Oh,
chat.
welcome.
Would you like to?
I mean, he could just skip back 10 minutes and
or
hear
he
the
can
whole
skip
thing
back.
again.
It depends
Yeah.
on if you want.
I'm going to have to clip that and
talk
post
to
it.
him personally
Um,
or talk back.
You can, Panthers Rule 95. If you want to talk to me personally, we can talk about it right now. Sanders, can you scroll up on that chat?
Yeah. To what Landon has
What
said?
is his first message?
This is his first message right here.
No, Landon's first message.
Oh, Landon's first message.
Landon's first message was at
Yo, can you revisit your prediction? on the
9 p.m.
Panthers?
So if you scroll back 16 or so minutes, Panthers Rule, then you'll have our full conversation on that. So you're welcome to discuss that with us again right now, which I'm fully open to that. You can also catch us on Tuesday night. We'll be talking the NFL. This is our college football recap show for the weekend.
We may have to have a State of the Union to kick off that show and let you address that.
We can address Panthers Twitter. Maybe say, "Hey, we'll be live here. We'll start the first 15 minutes, and we can talk about it then." But it's up to you. If you want to talk about it right now, I'm right here for you. We can discuss it. I'm completely open to that conversation. I will warn you. I've got backup right here. 2 guys with me as well as 2 guys in the chat. So you're outnumbered 5-1.
I don't know. I picked the Panthers to go 9-7 or 9-8. I may have to hop on the other team.
Wow. I think
It's always the two of y'all versus me anyway.
What?
so-
How many
okay,
games did I have the Panthers winning?
Sanders.
I do not think the Panthers have been good this year. I'm just joking.
That's why I'm going to ask you: do you still think they could go 9-8?
Oh, that's a great
Considering
question.
how they have looked right now, maybe that could be our last buy or sell.
Appreciate it, Panthers rule.
Yeah, Panthers Rule, welcome. Thank you for joining the chat. We appreciate your commenting. Leave a like while you're here because it doesn't hurt you whatsoever. So the Panthers, I guess we could say, is our last buy and sell. Do we still think they're going to go? The Sanders still think they're going to go 9-8. 2-15 is wild. I agree at this point, but that's hindsight. Coming into the season, I saw a Bryce Young that didn't necessarily make big steps at the end of the year. He looked good statistically. I understand there being hype, but you couldn't look at his previous 20 or so games where he literally got benched for Andy freaking Dalton and say, oh, well, now he's going to make the jump here in year 3. Now he's finally going to make the jump here. Now, we added Ted McMillan. Now we've got the weapon at receiver. According to y'all's fans, at least a couple of them, Chuba Hubbard is a top 10 running back in the NFL, which that was kind of a miss.
That was wild. When I went through and listed out there, I argued.
You had them
with-
at 7 and 10, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I thought I had them
even
higher.
better.
I think I had them higher. Or no, I probably.
Well, you might have
switched
made
it.
a TikTok where they were 9 and 8. I don't remember.
Collectively, the Technical Foul Pod with our joint had them at 5 and 12.
Okay,
So all
we're
we
on
need
pace.
is
For
them
them
to
to
not win
lose
another
out.
game.
All of that being said,
I think we're going to be wrong.
there is a ton of hindsight in this, which is why I love that y'all are coming to give me flack for it, because I deserve it, because I said that y'all were 0-17 candidates. But you can't tell me, if you look at the product on the field, that doesn't still look like the team that I was describing coming into the season. Bryce Young has thrown for, actually, a Carolina Panthers passer, which has just been Bryce Young, has thrown for more than 200 yards just once this season in a win against Arizona, or a loss against Arizona, I should say. Bryce Young had to fight just to get to 100 yards. Congrats on the big win against the Packers today, but if you watched the damn game, Bryce Young fought for 100 yards, and that was a win by Rico Dowdle, the Panthers' defensive line, and Jordan Love just throwing y'all the ball for no reason at the end of the game. Charles Sutton, welcome to the chat. 2-15 Panthers.
That's what we're discussing.
This is, again, what we're discussing. You're welcome to go back 20 minutes now to have our first conversation, or even 5 minutes to the start of this conversation. Look, again, I'll reiterate. You can't tell me what you've seen in these 9 weeks on the field from Bryce Young, from the team, that this is any different to what I was describing at the beginning of the season, which is one of the worst rosters in the NFL. They have one of the worst quarterbacks. That's undeniable. That's undebatable, with the way he's performing, both statistically and from an eye test perspective. And somehow y'all are 5-4. The win over the Falcons 30-0, I give y'all a ton of credit for, but at the same time, as a Saints fan and a guy who grew up as an Atlanta Falcons season ticket holder, that was just a classic Falcons, what in the world is going on kind of game. And so I more so put emphasis on that. And then your wins this year are against the Jets. You won by 7. A win today over the Packers, which Jordan Love, I would argue, handed to you, and Rico Dowdle cooked. Defense played well. But a 3-point win over the Dolphins, a 3-point win over the Cowboys.
Fins up, baby.
Shout
out Mike McDaniel.
You can't tell me. I believe everything I'm saying.
I promise you,
who is Dez?
I promise you, Dez. He does
If there's
believe everything
anyone
he's saying.
here that's sitting here in these 3
this
chairs,
is true.
I am the one that believes what I'm saying every single damn time I say it. Look, I agree, Charles Sutton. Well said. A win is a win, he says. That is one of our favorite phrases here on the show. Shout out Chris Berman. A win is a win is a win. That being said,
I would rather be 5-4 than 3-5, like my Commanders are right now.
Gotta be 3-6.
Regardless of how I got the wins. Game's not over, Coach.
Game's not over.
I refuse to believe that y'all believe that what you've seen on television for 9 weeks is actually a 5-4 football team. Is actually a team that's going to fight for the wild card.
I will say JP's been rooting for losses for 6 weeks now because he understands the vision of what it means to be a bad football team and what the goal is.
Hey,
and that's Lenore Sellers.
I also changed my tune on the New Orleans. I had some self-reflection on there. I picked them to win the division, and then I watched the preseason, and I watched Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, and I was like, yeah, no way in hell this is happening. I still thought with the schedule we played, we'd win more games than we did, but I am ecstatic that we're losing games because we'll have a future, hopefully, a quarterback going forward. So congrats. You have 4 more wins than us, but like
Y'all aren't going to have a quarterback in 2 years, and the Saints will.
7-10. Are we going to celebrate that season more than if the Saints are 1-16 and they get the number 1 overall pick and the future looks at least a little bit brighter? We're happy that the sky actually looks blue for us now. Hey, I'm fine with that too. It's a tremendous improvement over the past 2 years. So you have to feel positive about that. I agree there. But still, do y'all think Bryce Young is the damn answer?
That's my thing. Is he say the sky looks blue for you now, but like he's looked good for what 5 weeks at the end of year 2, and then you come back year 3 and you expect him to be at that level, if not take a step forward, and he hasn't. He's thrown for 200 yards once, and I get that's not everything, but like he hasn't looked good. And so you say the sky is blue, but what you're going to end up in Pittsburgh purgatory. You're going to end up going like 7-10, 8-9 at the best.
Pittsburgh purgatory is a pretty special place and very hard to hold on to.
This is true.
So
this is true.
Give Pittsburgh their props for threading the needle every year.
Yeah, and so I just don't know that I don't know if I'd be saying the sky is blue. I think if I were a Panthers fan, and
let's be if you were a Panthers fan, you would be pretty happy your team was winning something they haven't done recently. It's
That's
a lot
fair.
easier outside looking in to be like the wins down the line. This may be more of a flash in the pan thing. But as a Panthers,
I feel about the Panthers about the same way I do about the Cardinals. And that is, I don't think y'all have the answer at quarterback right now. And so, objectively, as someone who isn't emotionally invested, and if I were emotionally invested, I would be excited. But as someone who's not emotionally invested, if I were the general manager of the Cardinals or the general manager of the Panthers, I think that I would be much more interested in finding the future at the quarterback position to take advantage of the rest of the roster, the offensive line y'all have, the run game y'all have. That's what I would be thinking.
Defensive
line play that y'all are getting, which has been good. But y'all are fans, and so that's different. So that's not like a bad thing. It's just like we just view it differently.
Charles Sutton says, "I like Bryce. He manages the game well enough for us to win. Panthers have always been run heavy. I understand that, and that's great to feel if." Bryce Young was a third-round pick. He was the number 1 overall pick. You traded a first-round pick for him as well. He was supposed to be a superstar, not just a starter, which right now he barely is even a starter because Andy Dalton was starting over him last year. He was benched for Andy Dalton. I don't need my quarterback to throw 250 yards when the running game is awesome. Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't, but you'd at least expect Bryce Young to have a couple good performances. Even Spencer Rattler has thrown for more than 200 yards a couple times this season. He was the number 1 overall pick. I will again reiterate that. You traded a first-round pick for him as well.
You didn't trade that for a game manager. You didn't trade that for Brock Purdy. You can get Brock Purdy in the 7th round.
You can get Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft. He is Mr. Irrelevant after all, and he is performing better than Bryce, but that's a different debate because San Francisco has a much better roster than the Panthers. It's a little bit of insanity. I think on both ends. I'll go in self-reflecting insanity on both ends, sure. But I believe everything I said. I still feel that way to a degree because I've watched y'all play. And I refuse to believe that you can watch those games and then feel that it isn't that we've made tremendous steps. We've made better steps than 5 wins all of last year, and you're already at 5 this year. But it's not like it's 5 amazing wins. It's I don't know. It's insane. But I appreciate all of y'all. That being said, for joining us in the chat, for commenting with us. We'd love to continue talking with you, but we've been here for 3 hours. We'd encourage you to go watch the rest of the show. This is, again, our college football show. We exclusively talk
until today.
College football. But
some things had to be addressed.
True.
We're welcome to talk with you on the chat anytime, though. And we will be live on Tuesday. I potentially will have a town hall meeting regarding the Carolina Panthers. I love that. See, that's a really hard thing to argue with because of my Geno Smith take, but we don't have to bring that up. I would love to continue discussing with this with y'all on Tuesday night. We will be live.
I may have to go find that Panthers tweet and comment on every one comment and be like, join us Tuesday for a statement.
Yes.
Josh Hubbard has arrived. Let's be real.
We will more than likely be live around 4 p.m. Central Time. I guess at this point, I'll go ahead and say I will address Panthers Nation at 4 p.m. Central Time. Please join us then. Leave a like, subscribe. It doesn't hurt you in either way. It only helps us. And if you want to see me apologize more for my Panthers takes, then leave a like and subscribe. And we will look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Thank you again for joining us in the chat and debating with us. We can have a long debate on Tuesday afternoon, but I need to go. I have a test at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Good luck.
And I need to lock in for that.
Sure.
But thank you all for joining us. And without further ado, Jackie can close us out.
Yeah.
And we can pick this conversation up Tuesday night.
Congrats, Panthers, on being 5-3.
5-4.
5-4. Dang, I'll try to give them too much credit. I don't know why I would do that. That's crazy. Now we've reached the end of our show. Thanks to all who tuned in. It was a fun college football show with some NFL hot takes and arguing and debating sprinkled in, and that made it a ton of fun. Thanks to all in the chat. And we'll be back for you all Tuesday for the NFL show. Peace.
See ya.